Israel, but that deal fell through, so they never worked for Israel in the first fucking place. It was a Czech factory that made arms for Ukraine. It's as simple as that. And it's fucking hilarious to me that one of the terror suspects who was arrested was a Hasan head. But the far more infuriating thing was that when Hasan Piker covered that shit, he repeated the fucking lie that it was an Israeli company. And that really infuriated me last week because he repeated that shit and you immediately had these idiots all over the internet running around, oh, Israeli company, Israeli company, Israeli company. Fucking everywhere.
It's a very common tactic. There's a couple things that I want to touch on. Then why not?
I'm gonna calm down and go get cigarettes. I'll be back in 10 minutes, and I think I need to smoke. I'll see you.
Oh my god!
One of the most European things I've ever heard.
Okay. We're gonna Soy Pills here. He's the resident leftist that we're gonna pick on a little bit today. But that's okay.
I'm a leftist? No.
Are you not?
But not in the sense that you guys are using it. I just came to talk about how, in the same way you're complaining about them complaining about the Democrats too much, you're complaining about the left too much. And then, ironically, I'm now complaining about you complaining about the left too much. But this is all to say that we're all not focusing on the right enough.
See, we just talked about this, right? It's this game
I was listening.
that people do. That we can't ever talk about Hasan because as soon as we do, it's like, well, why are you talking about Hasan when there's a genocide in Gaza? Why are you talking about Hasan when Trump's out there doing his ICE and sending off his goons to the states to deport people and to get rid of their free speech? But it's this game that I wanted to talk about to what Kraut said, right? When it comes to the lies and things like that. And I saw this
Fair enough,
on a
tinfoil.
tweet that Mehdi Hasan made
I'll address
earlier,
this.
and that I responded to. Kathy Young, one of my moots on Twitter, okay, gang. She writes for The Bulwark and a few other publications on occasion. She made a tweet talking about how the Hasan Piker left needed to just go away, to be crushed. I forget the exact wording. And Mehdi Hasan responded to that with like, I guess you guys just oppose peace and you oppose universal health care.
Is this the one where she made an equivalence between him and Nick Fuentes?
No.
Okay,
I saw
there was a big thread on that responding to Mehdi Hasan with like 8 million clips of Hasan calling Jews inbred, although he might specifically mean Israeli settlers, so it's not necessarily anti-Semitic, guys. But I thought I guess there's multiple Hasan discourse things, which goes back to the point of we're talking about Hasan too much, despite it kind of making sense.
Okay.
Are you back on Twitter yet, by the way?
I'll just bring it up.
I don't think you understand what permaban means, Dev.
I do. I'm also permabanned, but I'm still there.
What is that? Well, then you're not permabanned.
No, I've just dodged like 10 times. So
there's ways to get around these things, okay?
I'll make the goy pill. He can't ban me because it's a Jewish-related joke, and he'll be like, good, anti-Semitism.
So anyway, right? Here it is. If you guys want to look at the tweet, Kathy Young responding because Mehdi Hasan made a post. The campaign against Hasan Piker is about crushing the left. Centrist groups like Third Way are trying to cancel the popular progressive streamer as part of their campaign to reduce far left influence. I got a few issues with this tweet off the bat. Why are top Democrats joining in? And it's a link to an article which I've read, or at least part of, from Zedio.com, which is a publication that I'm not sure if Hasan or if Mehdi runs or if he just works with. I'm not sure the relationship there, but I do know there is some relationship. Kathy Young responds, if there's anything that deserves to be crushed,
I agree with
it's
you,
the
Hunting
Hasan
Wish.
Piker left.
Can we please touch grass?
And in response to that, Mehdi Hasan says this. Yeah, I mean, who wants an end to foreign wars and universal health care? Nobody. And kind of this, what I'm reading is a kind of like a sarcastic tone. But this kind of failure to engage with the actual criticism is, I think, one of the hallmarks of that side of politics. No one, or I wouldn't say no one, but I am certainly not opposed to ending foreign wars in universal healthcare. My criticisms of Hasan Piker and those around him do not involve those things, but they retreat to these things. And they will always retreat to these things. If you make fun of Hasan or if you have a criticism of him in general, they'll be like, oh, so you don't want universal health care? It's this kind of dishonest framing that I've seen consistently, which acts as a shield to what I feel Hasan actually is, which is a parasite that will hollow out the Democratic Party. And he's already begun, right? How he's being described as a progressive. You're a progressive, right, Soypill?
Yeah.
Would you describe Hasan as a progressive? Do you think that's
if I was uninformed and it's funny enough, like my mom, who's not at all online, versus me, who is terminally online, actually brought Hasan Piker up, and I was like, how the fuck do you know who that is? And it's because of these kind of like random op-eds from Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and it's like, oh, this guy's a progressive. And I don't know if Mehdi Hasan is like prone to falling for that. I feel like he would be more tuned in to the kind of things that Hasan has said, especially when he has direct, people quote tweeting him and showing him the links on Twitter. But if you are that kind of like out of the loop person, you would think this, but that's kind of the only way I could possibly justify calling Hasan a progressive.
But that's his strategy, right? That is
of course. I mean, he literally says this,
right? Yeah, and he's described this like this is a purposeful kind of campaign that they're doing. They want to subsume the label of progressive, wear it like a suit, and so when you criticize some of his very non-progressive positions, they're like, aren't you progressive too, buddy? I'm a progressive just like you, which is a lie because they're not, right? He is not anything like you, Soypill, right? Like I have my problems with some of your positions, but you are not in this kind of category of Hasan Piker at all.
Yeah, I'm not like an ML accelerationist subversion person.
No. You're just like a himbo progressive.
Hey, guy. Himbo implies stupid, which I actually accept. So
fair enough. But like, so you mentioned that we're talking about him too much, and Kraut, I don't know if you were listening, had that same opinion a few years ago, right? Like, oh, we're talking about Hasan too much. We should just kind of let him be.
Yeah, I heard. No, he was talking about, like you're focusing on this too much, and yeah. Like I have this same criticism when I talk to Hutch, where I'm like, yeah, when something big pops up and it becomes this guy's not someone you can just ignore. If it is the mainstream political discourse to say, hey, look, this guy is voicing an opinion that a bunch of people agree with, which is we should look at J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom, view them equally, and say fuck it and throw our hands up. That's the time where you go in and attack this guy. But when it's like, oh, let's spend like 8 weeks talking about him shocking his dog. And don't get me wrong, I think he did do that. But like, what are we doing here? Like, I have people in my life that are being materially like harmed and killed by the current admin, and people are talking about like a Twitch streamer's like drama because he doesn't have their politics and it's fun to make fun of him. And it's like, great, cool. This is not nearly so important. And you can't have this dichotomy in your head of these people are powerless, they never win elections, their candidates always fail, and also they're so important that I'm going to dedicate 75% of all of my airtime to talking about them. It's just incongruent to me.
Sure. And I think that Kraut even mentioned this earlier. He actually did go to get cigarettes for about 10 minutes.
No, I know. Okay, yeah, I believe him. Hey, back. Kraut. Freut mich. A lot of people told me to talk to you, and I've heard good things, so.
Okay. Nice seeing you, new guy. Sorry, I had to go quickly.
It's okay. He was just talking about how we're talking about Hasan too much, and
I didn't talk about Hasan for 4 years. I didn't talk about Hasan for 4 fucking years. Yeah, I didn't talk about him in years, and it just got worse. It just got worse.
Do you think anything we're doing now is making it better, though? I mean, I understand providing a counter narrative I'm fine with, that's what I said, but like the degree to which people shit on him, I think is just like not completely, 80% time is wasted.
It certainly feels good.
That's fair. But that's kind of my point. I mean, it does feel good to shit on people. Snarking is fun.
Yeah.
But like, who the fuck?
I'm not sure
like most people don't even know who
snarking.
this person is, and this is very like in our bubble sort of thing. Maybe I'm using the word snark wrong if it's like a legitimate criticism and not like, oh, I just want to go after this person. But like, I don't know. I'm seeing people in my chat say this, and I totally agree. It's like, hey, my grocery prices are too high. My taxes are too high. My gas prices are skyrocketing, and I want to address and understand the problems that are happening and materially affecting me on the day to day.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about this guy Hasan and his drama with fucking Gloop Glop or whatever other Twitch streamer he got in a fucking fight with today. Like, it's just so stupid to me when it's not something something that affects the mainstream discourse, such as Hasan causing voter disaffection, which is very important and needs to be addressed.
Exactly. We must talk about the real issues. We must really, it's really important that we talk about the real issues.
Fair enough.
That is why it matters. That is why it's really important that Hasan has to take over a policy org and make it about fighting his internet enemies. You know, like it's pot calling the kettle black. It really is. Like, what does he dedicate? Like, his understanding of policy focuses entirely on stupid fucking vendettas that he has with people he doesn't like. It's like fucking it's Albanian blood feuds. It's like, it's primitive, it's stupid, it's medieval. It's unbecoming of any sort of democratic environment. And I do not understand why people give him so much heat. Yeah, concerning the Israel thing, that is one of the other reasons why I'm stepping up raging at him, because if this fucker does to the topic of Russia-Ukraine, of the war in Ukraine, what he did to the Israel-Palestine topic, oh boy, will I be fucking furious.
Oh yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, just so the audience knows and so we understand. Like, can you kind of draw a line? What do you think he did to the Israeli-Palestinian topic, and how do you think he's going to do that or risks doing that?
He turned it into a purity test to purge people. He and his ilk. They turned it into a purity test to purge and silence people. Well, when you look at the groups that support Ukraine, it's mostly Ukrainians in charge, and it's mostly about how do you actually help Ukrainians? Raise money to buy trucks to send over to the front line, volunteers, etc.
Well, to be fair,
so, yeah, I
mean, I'm not saying this in his defense, but like, there wasn't a lot of purity testing with the Ukrainian-Russia conflict because there weren't a bunch of people saying, you know what, actually, I don't support Ukraine because it is totally okay for Russia to do what they're doing, because it was so obviously evil and imperial.
Like that.
There are people like this, but like, it's not so much that you could cause this kind of purity test inside the left-wing movement that was like big enough to be the same as like the, oh, you are supporting Israel, like I am excising you from everything. Not to defend the fact that he did this, but like, it's I don't know if you could have created the same purity test out of the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
The Russia-Ukraine support communities, like the communities who raise money, etc., etc. It includes so many different people, conservatives, liberals, even left-wing people. And if you did something like this, if you started purity testing, etc., etc., like, what would be left? It would do to the communities that support Ukraine the exact same things that he did to the communities that claim to support Palestine. Turn them into incompetents that bring nothing to the table and are unable to actually change the situation as it is.
And I just want to make clear, there are some lefties who do that. The Tankies, right?
Sure.
Non-smoker. I've talked to a few of them, right? Who are very
anti-NATO, anti-Ukraine, Azov battalion type, like, narrative stuff. Yeah, no, those people exist. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying like the degree to which
are you a left-wing guy? So, Bill,
I'm like progressive, like liberal progressive. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So one thing that I should say from the start to you is like, I do not want to do that thing where like, this is actually something that I'm really scared of, where people then, when people use the fact that a lot of people are increasingly just fed up with Hasan to bash left-wingers in general. That is not something that I would approve of. I know left-wingers who've had enough of Hasan themselves. Yeah. So that's I'm not using Hasan as a cudgel to beat you, if that is something that you want.
I didn't feel like you were. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. Like,
I'm not a fan of Hasan. I'm more pushing back on the like, hey, I already agree with you guys about the criticisms, but how much of this is worth talking about? And the main thing I focus on is how much of this is a more pervasive widespread thing, like widespread thing. Hasan didn't create purity testing on Israel-Palestine. He purveyed it. He does it himself. He is not the inventor of any trend that I can think of. And while we can use him, like you said, as like the focal point for criticisms, that's fine, especially if his clips are the ones that are blowing up and like are prime examples of the worst things that we don't like. But to make it about Hasan is so ridiculous to me, because let's say he gets banned on Twitch. He's not going to, but let's say he did. And there's, he just loses all of this platform. That's not going to stop the narrative, but what it will do is make it seem like, all the problems that you were discussing and making this person the focal point of, they must be not as bad now. And that's not what I want. I want those problems to be addressed absent of like stupid Twitch drama sports.
So I guess to kind of give you, and I'm not sure if you were here for the very beginning where I kind of laid this out, but it is a question that deserves an answer. Like, why are we talking about Hasan when so much is
That's a
going
great question that like I threw at people. Like I feel like the soy pill is where it's kind of in the space where I was a few years ago, where I got into arguments with people where I kept telling them every moment that you talk about Hasan is wasted. Just ignore him and he'll go away. And the
Well, I don't
more
think
you
that.
ignore him, the more worse he seems to get, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think we
And
should
it's
ignore
become,
him. And like I said,
it's
there are
also
things.
like,
Well, let Kraut finish. Go ahead, Kraut, please.
No, Soapil can interrupt me. Go ahead, please.
Well, I interrupt. You can finish.
No, please.
Well,
it's okay to interrupt.
You guys are so nice. Okay,
look,
go
all
ahead.
right, look. I lived in Germany. I get it. He's just letting me step all over his feet because they're too kind. All right, they're like the Canadians of Europe. Basically, I don't think these things should be ignored. I'm saying there are very specific things that you do focus on, and those things are when a narrative or a clip of him speaking is more indicative of a widespread problematic thing that does come from the left that is harming the movement. Hasan himself could be that, by the way. Like, if he gets big enough that he's subverting like congressional candidates, that is when you focus on it. My problem is that like
he's at that stage though. So just real quick, just to let you know.
I'm not saying he's not.
In my opinion,
I'm saying
he is at the beginning stages of that. And I wish that the Republicans had nixed MAGA in the bud.
How?
Right? Back in the day. I wish that had happened because it'd be nice to have like an actual two-party system with like people who believed in America and believed in the Constitution and things like that.
But my
and
question
I wasn't worried about if I lost this election, the country would go to hell, right?
My question is like how much of your time is wasted is indicative of how useful your criticisms are when you're pushing back against a mainstream narrative that is widespread and is going to be more harmful to the movement. I think that's very important to provide that counter. Like when Hasan goes on, I don't know, any show where they really push back on him. I do think that's really important. But what I'm worried about is like, okay, how effective are you actually being just by talking about this and saying it's bad, and how much of your time is wasted versus how much of your time is able to actually nip that?
You're framing this as if I am wasting a significant amount of my time, but the thing
I don't know you, Kraut. I don't know how much you criticize. I know Wick and Hutch are my like, you guys do this too much.
Yeah. This is the first time that I've gone on a stream to talk about Hasan and his general corner of the internet since the JX shit. Since the React
that was
thing.
in 2023, wasn't it? That was a while ago.
Yeah, that's the first time that I'm talking about him since then. No, that was even before the war in Ukraine. So, wait, someone's calling me. Sorry, I am on a stream. Yeah, fuck. Now I lost my train of thought.
JX,
yeah,
just real quick, we're ending the Twitch stream, and so Twitchers, go to the YouTube.
Okay, I would counter you. I am not wasting my time talking about Hasan when I bring these things up. I am not wasting my time because this is literally the first time that I'm talking about Hasan in years. And when I said years ago that talking about Hasan is a waste of time, I was the one who now has to concede that I was fucking wrong. Because it got worse in these years. And another thing that you discount is that when it comes to liberal creators generally on YouTube, like virtually everyone I've talked to has experienced some form of harassment and of having their lives made more miserable because of the direct involvement of people like Hasan. His promotion of people like Bad and Panada. Not just him, by the way, his entire fucking circus promoted this guy while he was doxing, harassing, and trying to have people spotted. Like, these people actively go out of the way to make our lives fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And I think it's you can't expect someone like me to just turn around and be like, nah, I'm not going to talk about this.
Yeah,
I'm going to just ignore this.
Just to be clear, I'm not where you were back then. It's not about ignoring this. I think there are lots of legitimate criticisms.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me piggyback on that, and then you can respond to us both. Okay. It's, again, I do not feel that Hasan and those like him are something that it is a waste of time to cover because they are always attacking liberals and they are trying currently, as we speak, to subvert the Democratic Party. And if we have to fight two battles at the same time. We have to fight against Trump and all his ilk but we also have to fight against these. And it is not a waste of time to fight against these.
I'm not saying it's a waste of time. I'm not saying these things should be ignored. This is all an argument about time allocation. And if it's like, I see people doing like 80-20 Hasan versus like MAGA coverage, and I think it should be like 70-30, 80-20 in the other direction.
Hasan, MAGA
I
coverage?
don't know about you specifically, although I do watch a lot of your panels. But like when it's like, okay, why are we talking about Hasan every week? Because there's like a new drama slop thing going on versus, hey, here's Hasan promoting a candidate that is specifically like bad in comparison to the liberal candidate in this primary. Abso-fucking-lutely cover this. Talk about why your candidate's better. Promote that candidate over them. And then, you know, if you want to fucking talk about dog shit on your drama segment, maybe. But like, I just think there is a disproportionate amount of time spent to things that don't matter nearly as much. And when we're looking at like who has the power and who's actually like exerting that power over us, it's just not as logical to me to go after to the extent that people are. That doesn't mean that he's not worth criticizing.
Okay.
Go ahead. Did you have
No,
something?
I just I just said okay. Yeah, I understand that point. I just disagree with that. I think that, I mean, especially us who do this thing online, we do have to concern ourselves with what people do online. It's very difficult to translate what we do online into offline activity. And
True.
what all of this overlooks is also the point that, like, what does Hasan Piker do online? What does he spend his time talking about? It's either spreading disinformation or his personal vendettas. That's literally all he does.
Usually
There's
against
no
the left
policy.
too, also, right? I feel like that's a thing.
No,
Like, I think it'd be weird if Hasan spent all of his time attacking conservatives and then people just spent all their time attacking Hasan. I think it'd be really strange. But I don't know. When I look at that movement, it feels like they're more concerned with attacking other Democrats than doing anything against Republicans.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. But my issue is this, is how much are they able to hurt the left versus the right is? And that's what I think the proportionality should be dedicated to. Like, don't get me wrong, these people are actively announcing their ideals to subvert the Democratic Party, subverting better candidates, like pushing someone like, in my opinion, a Plattner over Collins, which I don't think is good. Is it Collins? No, doesn't matter. Point is, like, that sort of shit is bad and should be
Plattner
excuse me,
Mills,
thank you. That sort of shit is bad and should be talked about. But when it's like, all right, and then let's focus on the fact that my day-to-day life is materially worse every day because of MAGA, that deserves a lot more energy right now, and how we can like fight back against that. That's all I'm saying. Is the proportionality is a little out of whack.
I think most people agree that MAGA is bad. That's not a disagreement. The disagreement is that the people in Hasan's camp are saying that the Democrats won't do anything better for it, which I think is problematic when the right can cast them as our figures, which they do. They love to do that. Although they do it in a way to just damage us and never damage those people, right? There's a reason why when they bring Hasan up on Fox News, it's kind of like to laugh and make fun of him and then to make fun of all of us, but they're never, ever trying to cancel these guys because these guys are invaluable to the right. And then, meanwhile, when it comes to us evaluating our own movements, there's this huge, apparently genuine rift right now with some people in the party for like, should we welcome with open arms people into our movement that want to destroy the entire political party? Which is what Hasan and all them want to do. But nobody seems to understand or won't recognize, even though like Hasan has basically explicitly said this across multiple platforms, which I don't understand.
Yeah, and it's not something that, this is what I want to try to get across to you, Soyville, right? And to the audience listening, and I see a lot of you guys who disagree in chat, and that's fine, right? But this is something that we can't just wait on. They are doing it now. And unless someone stands up and says, hey, this is a really bad idea to let these people in positions of influence in the Democratic Party because they're going to push us away from good policy, liberalism in general. And also, I personally think it's going to be a gift to MAGA, right? They're going to just run ads about how look at the far left and how they're cozying up with Hasan Piker, and they'll be able to put together some really just like his clips of him calling Jews all sorts of bullshit things, right? Of him going off on these misogynistic rants, of him doing all these like awful, awful things and saying these awful, awful things. And they'll put pictures of him, right, hanging out with Ro Khanna and all these other kind of politicians, Bernie Sanders, AOC. I think we just don't like, that's going to hurt us immediately.
That progressive victory thing,
fighting Hasan, in my opinion. But go ahead.
That progressive victory thing is going to be one of the most ridiculous things that we've seen in years. I can guarantee you that. Like he usurped that. Like he accused everyone who was in there, including I think 2 of you in here who have been part of that organization, right? And he accused you all of being like black money, Zionist conspiracy, whatever the fuck bullshit. He usurped this organization, and the first thing they do with its account is beef with people for his fucking personal vendetta. He subverted a fucking policy org just so he could use it for his personal vendettas. It's going to be ridiculous.
That's not the first thing they did with it. The first thing they did with it that I saw was they made an excuse for why Hasan openly doxed people that were part of that organization, which is something that Hasan, he was going over a bad empanada video that had the public filings of the addresses of a bunch of people that were part of Progressive Victory. And Hasan went over it, and then the PV account came out, and they did like an apology tweet for Hasan saying that it was actually their fault or something. It was ridiculous. But
let me clear that up because I don't want to I don't want to defend what Hasan did because I think that's unexcusable to show all those doxes. But what PV did specifically was say, and this was their fault in the first place. This is the reason it was out. They paid out of the wrong org. It was supposed to be, I think it was the LLC instead of the PAC, and they paid out of the PAC. And because it was the PAC, you have to then disclose all of the addresses and names of all the people you paid out to, and that was someone in their org that fucked up. Now, Hasan capitalized off that and then made it worse by broadcasting it. So it's like, oh, you can't just say, it's public, therefore it's not a big deal that now I have a stream with 20,000 people on it that I'm showing it to. But I'm saying that PV did fuck that up in the first place.
Well, wait a second. Just PV, wait, real quick. PV might have made a mistake, but Hasan was aggressively and maliciously using that information to silence other people.
Yes, I'm not, and that's what I'm saying. Like that is obviously worse.
Like if Hasan's mistake was 100, PV's mistake was like 5 or 10. Like it wasn't that.
Oh yeah, sure. That's the thing is he was able to amplify that into a much worse thing because despite the fact that it's public, it's like, yeah, I can find someone's public information, but if I then broadcast that, even though it's public, no, people aren't already looking for that. Like he's the one who made that much worse. So PV, I don't think PV should have made that excuse for him. And then they're using the clout of Hasan on that panel that I was just on to be like, oh well, now we can use this big platform to promote our policies, which to them seems like a better trade-off than dealing with the fact that this person abused their mistake and turned it into a bad thing for all their creators. So yeah.
Do you know who Ferenc Gyurcsány is?
No.
Ferenc Gyurcsány was the prime minister of Hungary before Viktor Orban, leader of the Social Democratic Party. So he's one of the reasons why Orban was in power so long. What happened with his situation was he was an incredibly malicious type of person, kind of corrupt. He's the reason why Hungary is so dependent on Russian gas. He made that deal back in the day. And one thing that empowered Orban more than anything else was in 2006, a year after an election in Hungary that he barely won, a secretly recorded recording of him surfaced with meeting with his government ministers where they talked about how worthless they are, kind of bragged about how corrupt they were and all the corruption that they had gotten away with. And despite all this, he refused to resign. So we are used in our timeline, right? We're used in our day and age of people doing horrible things and not resigning, no consequences, etc., and getting away with it. Trump is a prime example of this. But there's also other examples. Ferenc Gyurcsány refused to resign. For 3 years he stood in office. Then his own party forced him out. And he's the main reason why Viktor Orban back then in 2010 had this enormous election victory, because of Ferenc Gyurcsány. He did this horrible corrupt thing, refused to go, stuck around for several years, and then finally he got voted out of office. And the reason why he then continued to help Orban is he refused to go. Instead of going quietly into the night, Ferenc Gyurcsány formed his own left-wing party, divided the left-wing vote in two. He basically is the responsible party destroying the Hungarian left as a viable opposition to Viktor Orban and thereby keeping him in power for nearly 2 decades. And this is also sort of a scenario that you have to keep in mind. With certain people who are just really nasty, really horrible, and cling on to power no matter what, right? But they're optically awful and horrible. You will, over the long term, just make things infinitely worse for you if you don't just confront them. That's a point that I wanted to make an analogy with that. Sorry.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of that, like the fact that even after Hasan had abused the people that Progressive Victory were working with, right? It's creators that they had worked with and had made contracts with and had promoted and had, the creators had promoted Progressive Victory as well. To excuse the abuse that Hasan did is a betrayal. It was a betrayal. right? It was a betrayal, and it is a betrayal. And that is something to watch, again, an organization that saw a man abuse its members, call it dark money shills for Israel, spread all sorts of malicious hate and lies about it, which we had to deal with every day, just to kind of crawl back on their knees and beg for a crumb of clout for him is, I don't know the word for it, but it's kind of
opportunistic.
Yeah, suck my dick. Suck my dick. Fuck off. That's the only thing you have to say to someone like that. He can fuck off. He can take his little pack of idiots and ride off into the fucking sunset. I have no doubt about the fact he's going to destroy that organization. That progressive victory group, that's done. He's going to burn it into the fucking ground to serve his personal vendettas. And the only lesson that people like me and others here may have to learn from it is next time around when people like that come around, you always say no. You tell them to fuck off right away. Don't engage them. Don't have any illusions about working like people like that with people like that.
Well, I'll say this: the reason I still work with them, and I'm not sure how long that will be, depending on where they go, especially considering I'm seeing more Tanky and Hasan's type stuff coming from them, is that they do promote candidates that I like, and I have yet to encounter, and this might be naivety from me, better organizations that take what they're doing and move and mobilize people with audiences like me in ways that I'm okay with. Like, for example, when they did do work in the past, and I do like the work they did in the past, and I do know people that have been in charge of that stuff and have left the organization since. For example, Destiny's canvassing events that helped flip Georgia. Those are the things that I have been like screaming for, and as soon as a better alternative exists, I think I could absolutely snap up on that opportunity. But that doesn't mean I won't hold my nose and potentially do something that I think is for the greater good, unless it's gonna hurt in the long run. And I'm open to hearing potential hypotheticals for that.
Go ahead, Dev. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. I don't want this to just be like a mean 4v1 against you, Soypel, but
I didn't think it was against me, but
okay, no.
So go ahead.
My criticism is a little bit different. Even though liberals and socialists, they're not really ideologically aligned, liberals and socialists are more ideologically aligned than liberals and MAGA are. So I do think that even though MAGA is the greater threat, and more liberal time should be spent critiquing MAGA, the more that you interact with socialists on a friendly manner, I think it's more dangerous, it's more toxic, it's more corrosive to the Democrat Party long term.
I know leftists who really had enough of him. Like, I am friends with leftists who, they're mostly volunteers in Ukraine, who are just so fucking fed up with him. And one thing that I know from talking to them, the thing that they all universally tell me when I talk to them is there is fear in leftist circles of speaking up against Hasan Piker. That they're scared of talking up against him. That it's basically only us who are able to do that. That he has completely taken control of the online left and sort of wrapped it around his fingers and points it like he purged the online left as well. Let's not forget his buddy Bad Empanada. What did he do for the first few years of his online career? Not only did he target liberals, let's not forget he targeted leftists viciously. People who some of us here might not even like, from Vauch to Merrick DeVille. Like, we shouldn't forget that either.
I will say you kind of have to be careful. You're giving Hasan a lot of credit there. It's not necessarily Hasan that's done it. It's that Hasan has kind of been the recipient or the beneficiary of this huge, like, online weird lefty ecosystem that's been set up. That he's now just basically getting to enjoy the benefits of being a part of that.
Okay, it's also possible that he's just the smartest grifter. I'll give you that as well.
Well,
yeah.
I heard he kind of pioneered the field of like politics and video games on Twitch. So like that was all on his own, right?
But I'm saying like all the weird, like obsessive, like snarky, dramatic, like doxing, like the people that are swatting me over and over again didn't necessarily come from just Hasan's community. It's like this weird peripheral online tanky movement that has like so much influence in so many different online places.
He does seem to be kind of like their figurehead, though, like their chosen avatar, if you will. At least from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like
go ahead.
People always weaponizes them for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People always cringe when I say that, but it's like a Stalinist personality cult, where you can justify anything you do. It's like a fucking parody of a Stalinist personality cult. The dear leader, like how many times have you encountered people who say, but he's such a great symbol of the left. He's such a great representative of the left. The dear leader, this, basically. And I'm doing this for the left. Yeah, he's Himbo Stalin.
I think we're mostly in alignment of the things that need to be fought against, especially with someone like this subverting a leftist movement. I guess maybe Destiny, you can speak on this, because I think you've even maybe said this before. Do you think, and I'm going to shit on Dan a little bit, but just because he's like a prime example of this, some people do have like Hasan derangement syndrome. You were talking about things that you just don't need to, and spending a disproportionate amount of time on things that are not, hey, this is an important pushback against this movement in the left wing, but like, oh boy, look at this silly little thing he did that we can call out for a week, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but whatever Dan went too far on, Hasan does that on a regular basis, and you guys all give him a pass for it.
I won't give him a pass for that, but
you do though, because you're willing to work with him.
When am I willing to work with him? In what capacity?
Was that a serious question?
Yeah, like, do you mean like being on the panel with him? If Hasan said I will start an org to, sorry.
Yeah, just one day ago. I mean, what do you mean? All the progressive Tanky people were there.
When he was on that panel and Mike was and all those people that I didn't like, I'm shitting on them in chat. I'm like, I don't like these people, but I'm willing to, like, if there's like an Operation Barbarossa fucking type thing where Hasan says, I'll pour $2 million into a canvassing event for Senate Democrats and general races, absolutely I'd work with him. But like, the question is...
You know, that's a one-way street, right?
Wait, what?
I don't think he will pull $2 million.
No, I'm not saying he will, obviously, because I told him to, and he said, no, why would I do that? But what do you mean?
They would never be willing to work with you. Like, Hasan is never jumping on a liberal project, ever.
Yeah, if I thought that working with Hasan could get my goals done better than not, should I not do it? And I guess that's my question, actually. That's not a definitive position I'm holding.
Well, I mean, like, so the counter question would be, let's say that tomorrow... Okay, Fuentes is really upset about everything that Trump has done. He's joked about or talked about voting Democrat. Let's say that Fuentes starts up like a pro-moderate Dem coalition or whatever, to fundraise or whatever. Would you be part of that panel thing, org thing, speaker thing?
It would vehemently be speaking out against him, but if he's giving us money, it would be hard to turn that down.
Really?
Yeah, like if Elon Musk wanted to donate to the Democratic Party right now, I would probably accept the money and work vehemently against him.
We're not
talking
about donations.
Right?
We're talking about, first of all, Hasan didn't donate anything, so I don't know where that comparison is coming from.
That's probably true. He didn't actually.
Well,
yeah, what if they?
But I'm saying, like, if Fuentes made like a speaker panel and he called it "Progressive Destroy Trump Victory" or whatever, would you join it and participate in the same manner?
I guess not. But also, to be clear, Hasan didn't make this panel. Hasan was invited on that panel.
Okay. Well, if Groypers made the panel and then Fuentes went, in the same way that Tankies made this panel and then Hasan went.
See, that's my issue is, like, if you could sell me that PV was primarily made of Tankies. First, when I joined PV, before they had a lot of, like, regime change stuff, it was people that explicitly, when asking me about my politics, said, as long as you aren't anti-electoral, we'll work with you. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they're like, Hasan, right? So that was the previous, like, admin of this group. And now it seems to shift a little more Vashi, which I'm not as happy with. But if they're, like, partnering with Hasan on a panel to be anti-war versus Hasan is a primary and member figurehead of this group and we are endorsing all of his politics, I think those are two different things. So if it was Hasan's audience primarily making this panel, I would agree with you in the same way that that would be analogous to Groypers doing it. But when it's people that would like invite him on, I think that's a little different.
Well, Soypill, do you believe that your interaction with this group is better overall for the liberal project than it is for the socialist project?
Yes. I think the candidates that are being endorsed and given money to overall are people I'm happier with. Like I like Oliver Larkin, I like Rokana, but Oliver Larkin does go on Hasan's stream, right? And then they have people like Mike from PA and Hasan on this panel. I'm like not happy with this. They have some candidates on there that were saying some pretty wild shit that I'm like, not really happy about this. And that's why actually, when people are posting that link that's like hey, go donate, that stuff is distributed equally to those candidates. And I said, guys, if you like a candidate on here, don't donate to that. Go find that candidate and donate to them. Don't do it equally.
I don't know. I'm not sure that I can support a candidate willing to work with Hasan, frankly. So any of these people who are going on a stream and
would you vote for Bernie Sanders? He's now had multiple appearances with Hasan.
I did actually.
No. Now would you?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
I see. It
would depend who's running
easily.
against. I want to be very clear. Any of these motherfuckers opposing JD Vance, I'm voting for them, right? Like,
no, in a general, sure, but in the primary, let's say it's Bernie versus like the most like center left possible, probably farther away from your politics than Bernie would be, right? Like Bernie is worked with Hasan. He's buddied up with Hasan.
Yeah,
like
I would
that's
go
not
with
enough for
other
me
guy.
to
I
purity
would go with
test
other
and say
guy
I'm never
100%.
going to vote for this person who aligns with me on all these other things.
Again, it really depends on the. You'd have to look. It's like fact-based question you're asking me, right?
Right,
Because I'd
but
have
now
to
you're
look at
introducing
exactly
the
what
nuance that I'm talking about,
policies we're
right?
talking
If
about.
someone's like, I
But in
endorse
general, as
Hasan
a
and all
rule
his
of
views,
thumb-
I'm not going to vote for them.
But just real quick, as a rule of thumb, I am saying that if you are willing to work with Hasan Piker, then you are probably not on my team, right? You are probably more than likely going to be against a lot of the things that I stand for, because you're willing to put up with a level of anti-Semitism. You're willing to put up with a level of harassment. You're willing to put up with a level of just communist brain rot that I think would, if we accept it in, it's like ingesting poison. It will eventually kill us. It may make you feel good at first, but it's eventually going to kill you.
This is to me, unfortunately, and I don't want to make all these things seem equal, because they're not. I think that Hasan's politics are like really bad, but like this is to me like every time I'm on screen.
It's not just Hasan's politics are really bad. His personal behavior and everything is deplorable.
Well, I'm getting into that, but that's less bad for me than the politics, which are like I think are good, destructive to democracy.
I feel like Hasan
less
has
bad.
contributed to more harassment
that is easy for someone.
than almost any other.
I'm not saying they're good. I'm saying if I had to pick which of these things is
worse,
the politics are going to lead to more
Destiny
destruction.
Let Destiny Kraut, then Soypill. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't know where that statement came from. I'm not saying they're good, right? If I were to say, this guy went to murder your dog to cut his throat, would you say, well, I wouldn't say that behavior? You say, no, the behavior is deplorable. I think Hasan has probably been responsible for more harassment for anybody like in the center left sphere than maybe any other single individual.
Yeah, but Destiny, the thing I was about to bring up was like whenever I appear on screen with you, I get so much shit for all of the accusations against you, the doc stuff, like any and all behavior you participate in the past. And like the thing is, I'm willing to say,
wait, real quick, who do you think that comes from though?
It might be Hasan's community for sure.
Yes,
but
it is. That's the point. You're making my point. Yes, correct.
But how much of these are? I don't know how much of this is legitimate criticism or not. But my issue is I value your politics and your movement far more than I do potential accusations and how true any of these things are. And so when I hear the stuff of like, oh, Hasan is a deplorable person, it's like, yeah, in a lot of ways I agree with this. Like this is just obviously true. But how much am I willing to use this person in the same way that he's trying to use us to promote my goals? And it's like, if you could show me that this is more harmful to my movement, that's when I change my mind.
Well,
I don't think
so you want to out Hasan. Is that what you're saying?
It's not we're saying that like the personal behavior is bad insofar as like there might be some misgivings about how they conduct their life, whatever. It's that Hasan will directly attack people like in these communities. Like,
sure.
Would you still be willing to work with me if you found out that the mean messages you get when you come on my stream are me messaging my fan base in like another Discord saying like, hey, you guys need to go and harass the fuck out of the Soypill. Fuck.
I honestly would. I honestly like that. Honestly, doesn't bother me all that much.
Then,
yes.
In this case, you have to acknowledge when you're having these conversations that you are way outside of the norm and that your opinion is not worthwhile.
I guess, but here's the thing, Destiny. This already happens.
Wait, real quick. Most people will not tolerate that type of behavior. That's an insane thing for the average content creator, politician, or whatever to deal with. Is another huge content creator that is actively, and I don't mean like by way of having a disagreement or whatever else, but is directing their community to directly go and harass another person. That's a really out there behavior.
No, it is. But
wait,
first of all, let me wait. Crowd, I really have to address this. One, Destiny, I already get so many DGGers in my fucking DMs telling me to fucking kill myself, and not because you told them to, by the way. I know that's not it, but just because of like just disagreements that you and I might have. But two, like, tell me if this is not true. Have you not doxed people on stream before?
Yeah, people related to Justical?
I don't know who or why. It doesn't matter what your justification is. My point is that like you have done things that I would say I don't think that's okay, and I'm sure you could find examples of me.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to make these things equivalent. What I'm saying is like if you're saying, oh well, now I can never ever ever do anything with this person because it's a tacit endorsement of everything they've ever done, whether that's
not. No one even said that. No one.
Okay,
was
cool.
Making
All right. Well, okay.
It's not about endorsing behavior. It's about collaborating with people that are actually trying to destroy the other people in your space.
Yes.
Like that's a very simple thing. It's not like somebody said a bad thing and now you're endorsing something. It's like Hasan will actively try to destroy people in this space. Like you were on not at the same time, but Dylan Burns was on there. Okay, a guy who we've all watched. I think we all are personally friends with, or at least I'm
on good terms with Dylan. Yeah,
right. Hasan called this guy a war tourist. Yeah. Okay, a war tourist.
Okay,
all right, and was regularly roasting.
Okay,
him.
and then why do you think Dylan was on it?
Probably because Dylan had he wanted to talk about the Ukraine issue.
Yeah, and do you think it's better that Dylan went on there and promoted good messages despite the fact that Hasan was on that panel?
You just totally sidestepped what I brought up, though. I'm just saying that Hasan is will personally try to destroy using personal, and not like these are just
but
political
the whole thing
disagreements.
is you're criticizing me for potentially working with him, which was being on a panel that he was on as well. Dylan was as well. Dylan has even more personal beef because of what you just described, and yet said, you know what? I think I can do more good introducing a liberal pro-Ukraine message, especially with all the anti-Israel shit in that panel. It's like, hey, look, I'm actually talking about other anti-war things that matter, and I think he did more good doing that than he would have if he said, oh, fuck, Hasan was really mean to me, I'm not going on this, right?
Yeah, I want to make it clear. Yeah, but
okay, sorry, I didn't mean to fucking downplay. You know what I mean?
Maybe I'm separating myself from Destiny here, but I am not criticizing you or Dylan for still working with Progressive Victory. You do what you think is best for your goals and things like that.
And Vic, to be clear, if you can make me a compelling argument of why this is ultimately more detrimental, I will stop doing it.
But just let me finish, right? That's not why I'm here today. I'm not here to deconvert you from Progressive Victory. That's not the point of what I'm talking about. I just want people to understand what is happening because, as Kraut said, Hasan has subverted that organization, right? Or Hasan fans, right? Maybe not him directly.
How so? What are you basing that off of? Destiny, you know Jonah, right?
Yeah.
Has he is, I'm very trustworthy of him and know that he knows the internals of this, and to my knowledge there's not some tanky subversion pro Hasan movement in this thing, despite some things you might see that do come out of Progressive Victory. And have you been led to believe that
fucking Grimm the guy who's been cheering the Russian invasion from the start, is not tanky adjacent?
Wait, just checking. Are you saying that Jonah has come out and publicly said that?
I don't know if he's publicly said that. I'm asking if you've talked to him about it.
Okay, I won't quote any individual person, but that entire organization has been completely and totally subverted. Yes, every center-left liberal has been excised from that org, and it is exclusively socialists and tankies now. Yes, okay. I know that 100% true.
I've heard.
But I mean, I shouldn't even have to say that. It's very obvious just by looking. No, you haven't.
I literally am talking to Jonah right now, in chat. So whether or not that's true, I'm not saying you're wrong or lying or something. I'm saying I have heard differently.
Yeah, Ryan Grimm is on there. That guy, the night the fucking tanks rolled into Ukraine, his fucking nasty lectures on how all of this was the Americans' fault, that the Ukrainians won't last and should surrender, fucking seared into my memory. Fuck that guy.
Well, I guess, Soipol, the way that I would look at it is, if you think you can do good by interfacing with these guys, go ahead. But if you turn around and suddenly your community is 80% tanky, you should probably double think it,
I don't think most, if any, of my community is tanky, but we'll see. But wait, Kyla, back me up here. Now you're
I'm not gonna. How are you doing? I'm not accusing you of that.
No. You don't have to, because I just know it's not true. But even if you did,
hey, Erudite.
Hi.
Is
what do I
PV primarily tanky right now?
I would say so.
If you have Ryan Grimm
yeah. Did you see my beautiful spectrum of the left?
Because you're saying Jonah's in your chat. I was just in a meeting with Jonah 3 hours ago. It is a primarily tanky org. Yes. So I don't know what he's saying in your chat, but yes,
he's
100%.
literally. I'm going to read you Jonah's words verbatim.
Okay, read them.
You are conflating tankies and socialists. Socialists, yes. Tanky, no. It's pro-electoral socialist.
It's yes.
Democratic socialists.
There are definitely pro-electoral socialists, and there are definitely probably accelerationists that would love to co-opt the socialist.
I'm sure those people are in there too.
Can you tell me what exactly the point of democratic socialism is, if the only thing you get to vote for is who is on your firing squad?
Two purposes. Number one, you can be a communist without having to outline your power level. Number two, it's for coward communists who don't really actually want to.
Hold on, just real quick.
Okay, that's the thing.
Bring Jonah on and ask him.
I keep telling him he should come on and clarify this, but I don't know if he wants to.
Oh boy.
Oh, hey, there we go, buddy. There we go. How's my favorite Jew?
Hey, now that you're here in the hot seat, okay.
I don't want to be here for very long, but yeah, basically, I describe Tanky as, pro Russia, pro China when it comes to China Taiwan. That is not the position of the leadership, as I understand it.
That's not what Tanky.
They're socialists.
You're not MLs.
We weren't talking about leadership. We weren't talking about
leadership. We weren't talking about the leadership. We're talking about the people they're working with.
Yeah.
No. We weren't talking about the people we're working with. We were talking about the organization has been subverted by Hasan and his movement. That's what was said. They're clearly working with
more
Tankies. They're working with Hasan.
I think it's Vosh's audience more than it's Hasan's audience in PV.
It's entirely Vosh's audience.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. But Vosh is a tanky.
Is Vosh
or as close as you can be
I
without.
don't know. I haven't.
Is he?
Watched
I would
Vosh in a
say.
long time.
I would say
think he
yes.
is. No,
Does he want to get rid of private property rights?
That's
Well, yes,
that's
he
not
does,
what
yeah.
a tanky is.
I would say it's definitely moving. Well, I didn't say that's a tanky, but it's definitely moving you in the tanky direction.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, but that's socialist.
Wait, how are we
would
defining
be known
tanky
as...
then? Have we done this?
When I think tanky, I think like USSR apologist, like communist China is great. Like MLs, like Lenin is good, Stalin is good, Marxism.
Let me give an example.
Well, there's direct examples here. There's Ryan Grimm, who ever since the first Russian tanks rolled in, has been on Russia's side. Yes, please.
Ryan Grimm does not run Progressive Victory. I'll give you an example.
But you promote him. You have him on.
Do you want me to speak, or I don't work for PV?
Yeah,
I got ousted. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Based.
So yeah, I got ousted from that org. But like for example, they're supporting Kat Abu Ghazaleh, or however you pronounce it, in the Illinois 9th congressional race. She had some like position paper come out that was like, in the event of like figure it out. In the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, that the U.S. should actively support Taiwan with weapons and whatever, right? That pissed off a lot of tankies online. They were like including Ryan Grimm, who I agree is much closer to tanky than the average socialist or whatever. But they supported Kat and they were like, fuck these tankies. This does not change our opinion of her at all. We agree with her position on Taiwan. That is what I would see as, if they were a tanky organization and from the leadership, they would not have that position. And I'm not going to out specific people, but the leadership I know, like, I'm not going to out specific people, but I know the leadership is pro-electoral and anti-tanky very explicitly.
But what
they're socialists, but
she lost her primary, and then Hasan Piker ripped into her because that's because you supported Taiwan.
Also, I feel
Did
like
you say that? I would also disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Big memes. I feel like it's the Israel thing that they care more about, and she was quick to ID some AIPAC-funded dark money group that was against her as well. So I'm pretty sure Israel is the big motivating thing for a lot of these.
Totally.
Weird
is
people.
Vosh,
but I see tanky as
ANCOM, right? Like he's
like an anarchist libertarian,
right?
or whatever.
I don't quite know what to do with the
also
ANCOMs, mostly because they've just like abandoned reality in a way that like
instead
MLs
of like
haven't.
but he's also
I agree.
He's also pro-Ukraine, right?
Instead of fixating on the weird labels, like here's the thing: is will they support Democrats in the general? That's like the main motivating thing.
I mean, literally canvassed with you guys 2020, right?
Wow, that's how many years ago was that? I don't know why.
Well, maybe he won't do it anymore. Well, the reason I keep bringing it up is because like that's why I want to work with PV.
Hold on, one at a time.
Vosh has literally said, I think he wouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom in the general because of his position on Israel-Palestine.
Oh, okay. Well, that's stupid.
This is the Trump stuff. Wait, do you not see the? Well, the minimizing language. Wait, like they're like,
okay, sorry. What words did you want me to use there? I'll agree with them.
No. You're saying it's not words, but it's like it's indicative of your state of mind because you keep doing this over and over and over again. Where anytime there's a bad thing brought up, you're like, oh, I guess it's kind of bad. Oh, yeah, that's not great. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess. Like it's not.
Yeah, because I'm more aligned with people on this side, but it's like if you're going to be anti-electoral to say I'm not going to vote for Gavin Newsom in the general, it's like, yeah, you're not really part of my movement then. Sure.
The point is that wait and see if PV is going to do exactly that. And if they do, criticize them, call them tanky, call them, no better than the DSA or whatever. But the idea is that you can shake your head, Wick, but the idea is that there is no proof that when there is a competitive race, which there will be this year, and you will see them support the Democrat in the election in a competitive Senate race, competitive House races, you will see that happen this year. And if you don't, then I'll join you in hating PV. Okay, I have every reason to.
Yeah, wait. Let me add one thing there. Let me add one thing because it's completely relevant what you just said.
Shut up. Okay, let me finish my thought, and then we got some people.
I guess I'll allow it. Go ahead, Wick. Go ahead.
My thought.
I'll allow it.
Right? Is I don't so much care what the leadership says they are. They are consistently promoting overwhelmingly a group of people who are anti-democrat. Right?
Wait, what do you mean overwhelmingly?
Anti-liberal.
I just went to their account. They're literally retweeting Gato Fumador. What fucking reason do you have as a serious political organization to repost Gato Fumador out of all fucking people? California is so compromised
Yes.
What the fuck is this? Only one U.S. Congress member does not take AIPAC money. That's like a blue state. That's like entirely going after what
Yeah,
the
and so
like
they can say all they want. Oh, I support, like, in the general, we'll support them. But if you spend the whole time just trashing Democrats all day, and then the day before the election or the week
But
before
that's
the election,
Wick,
you're like, okay, guy, just vote for the Democrats. It's cool.
Wick,
right?
okay,
Well,
this
you
is
have to-
entirely to
I-
my point of why I'm willing to work with such an organization. If they do what they did, which this is literally the shit like that inspires me to like move stuff and criticize people like Hasan for not doing shit like this in the general, in runoff elections in Georgia and Senate races. Okay, let's go put money and people out there and make sure we win this. If they're not doing that this year, I'm fucking out. That's why I'm trying to do stuff like this. And so like the idea that like if there's an alternative to this,
yeah,
I would absolutely jump on that instead, because they are half of these people they promote are people like you said, Kraut, and other people are bringing them up. People I don't like, but half of them I do like. I do like Rokanda. I do like Larkin. I like a lot of these people. So it's like
we don't
all
have
right.
to guess. Soypill. We don't have to guess if they're gonna still advocate for the person they didn't like because they did. No, they did this already. They advocated for someone else in the governor race in was it New Jersey? They really did not like what was her name, Mikey Sherrill. And then they still made tons of calls for her after she won the primary. So, and that's not even in a competitive race. That's in a race that like we probably were going to win. So if they're doing that in that race, they're going to do it in other races.
Okay, I think there's one thing. There's a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, the incentives, right? We need to be aware that anytime there's a progressive, more socialist camp within the Democrat Party, the main competitors that they will have in any type of election is in a blue state where they can run against Democrats. A progressive is almost never going to be running against a Republican. It's exceedingly rare. I think the only time we've seen states go from Republican to like socialist is Alberta with the NDP. And that was probably a fluke, right? So the incentive structure that we have to remember for progressives is their main competition is Democrats. It's us, right? And so I'm not opposed to people working with, I don't really care that much. I think one of the things that we need to be aware of when we're working with socialists is we have to be very clear that we're not in the same camp. If they want to take away private property rights and we don't, we can work with them on certain aligned goals, like getting a Democrat instead of a Republican. But we have to be aware at all times that when we're working with them, we are conferring them power, and there are certain powers that they would want to utilize that we are diametrically and vehemently opposed to, and most moderates that would vote for us are vehemently opposed to. So I think that this is something really, really important to keep in mind. I guess to speak to progressive victory, I think the biggest issue that's happened here is that it, in the federal election, was dominantly floated and supported by liberal content creators in social spaces, dominantly being Destiny's community, but a couple of other communities as well that were also liberal. And it's so quickly flipped hard on them and kind of denounced them and pushed away liberals in a way that I think is extremely distasteful. And it is exactly what we should expect from spaces that get captured by socialists, which is why you can work with them, but you need to be aware that you are basically in bed with the devil, and you need to be very cautious about it, because if you're fundamentally opposed to certain rights being removed, like property rights, they are opposed to you necessarily.
Any other questions for me before I leave?
Not for me.
All right, cool.
Bye.
Bye, John.
Else, as they say.
Love you.
How many
All right, peace.
Israeli shekels did you get paid for this showing? He's gone. I knew he would run away into the tunnel.
Of course he did.
Into the tunnel with he.
But yeah, it's. I think Erudite kind of hit it
Thank
on
you,
the
Dryan.
nose.
Yeah, I know Vosh's electoral,
The
and
socialists aren't
I disagree with that
competing against
position.
MAGA. They're competing against Democrats for the same.
Thank you, first name. Obviously can't speak for all. I can confidently say as a Demsoc that if Chuck Schumer is somewhere, that I will vote for him. Yeah, I'm also gonna I'm gonna drag my balls through glass for Chuck Schumer.
Republicans, but they can get it from Democrats, and they will.
I think that might
absolutely
be true in some blue states, but I'm not convinced that this is true overall. I had conversations a while ago with someone who works in like a policy think tank. He probably hates that I bring this up or him up. So he told me that there's a chance actually for the first time in decades to turn a substantial amount of Utah blue, because the Mormon community is at this point just completely disgusted with Trump. Just the complete moral debauchery and everything. And there's that more and more Mormons in Utah vote blue, and there's a chance that you could potentially even flip the state to something. But you're not going to flip that fucking state with someone like a Hasan Piker. So it's varies from region to region. You have to go from district to district, from state to state, look at what local voters want, etc., etc. If you run a Hasan Piker candidate in Texas, in Utah, You're just inviting yourself to lose. I mean, yeah, maybe there is a socialist who stands a chance in a place like Maine, Massachusetts, etc. But just they want everything or nothing.
Well,
they don't strategize. Everything or nothing.
Here's my question, because obviously, Kyla, I agree with the idea that like these people's opponents are Democrats. They're running in mostly safe blue districts because they're never going to win in the competitive one. Is there a liberal alternative group that excises people like this that is doing the same stuff that I'm attracted to, which is mobilizing online audiences and communities?
No, because it always gets co-opted by people like you who always say we should work with tankies and socialists.
People like me, dude. You did it in 2020. That's what inspired me to join it, dude. Come on.
There's two things. Number one, liberals is dominantly, especially, so like, yes, Destiny, you're this like liberal alternative, like dark space that's always been like woke and whatnot. But the dominant liberal actual like space has been filled with a lot of academic types who have been too afraid to stand up to socialists because they're very cowardly. Liberals just like want to stay in their institutions and be safe, and they've got the best policy. And I love liberals. They're very cowardly, right? And so what they did is they shook hands with the socialists because the socialists were cool. And then they said to everyone, we're just like them. And they were fucking lying the whole time. And that's a really big problem. So they did get it co-opted, but in part it got co-opted because liberals are terrified of supporting each other and we're terrified of pissing off socialists.
Well,
we're afraid to lose that base.
Yeah, just to kind of, I see it just a smidge differently. Because before 2016, it wasn't like this as much. There was some. But what happened when Trump won the first time is that liberals legitimately got scared. They thought they had it in the bag, right? They thought Clinton was going to win, right? They thought, okay, we have a formula. Obama had already won twice. We know what to do. We know how to handle these things. We have a great pitch. The people love it. We are going to win. And when they didn't, it shocked them. And they made a deal with the devil in a lot of ways, because there was these socialists, these kind of tanky types in the wings who'd always been kind of trying to get power in the space. And they said, you know what, you guys failed, but we could win for you. And we let them into positions of influence and we started listening to them. But then other than that, I agree with what you said. A lot of liberals became scared to kind of stand up to them. And now we have a problem, right?
Huge problem.
Okay.
A huge problem, and the answer isn't clear. Like the answer isn't never working with them. Obviously,
it sounds like it is to Destiny.
I think it is the answer.
That's the only answer.
No, it is the answer.
There is no other world where anybody would be okay with a group of people who are explicitly saying, we want to come in, we want to co-opt and destroy your movement, we want to do everything we can to funnel more people to our extreme side, and we're not going to support you in the general.
They did, but that's the thing. PV supports these candidates in the
I
general for competitive districts. I'm not talking about Hasan specifically. I'm talking about Bosch if he says the same thing about Gavin Newsom. I'm talking about PV that is putting this money behind mobilizing people to get Democrats elected.
Liberals should abandon PV, if I'm being frank. Like, that would be my position.
Please give me an alternative organization that's doing what they're doing. Like, I will join if you have a better one. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
Like, what is your prescription for someone like me who is like, I don't like these people. I don't want to work with them. However, I'm willing to.
What is the current PV doing? Or what is the thing we're looking to emulate or whatever?
A collectivized group
phone
of
banking, canvassing, door knocking, and competitive districts and general elections.
Did they do that much? Did they do that much once they became like tankified?
I don't know what the milestone of when that happened was, but if they're not going to do it, but Jonas says there's already plans to do said thing, they just did this in a governor's race, that's what he brought up, like, it sounds like they're still doing it.
They've been doing phone banking since before liberals joined and after liberals have been pushed away, just to be clear. And when I say you have to work with them, I mean, you do have to work with some socialists. You just do. I'm not talking about tankies. I think the fact that people work with Hasan and Vosh, I think the fact that Democrat candidates are literally slobbering at the mouth to go on Hasan's stream is a huge part of the problem. It just is.
But also,
there's a lot of Democrats,
and I don't think
this
is bad. Destiny worked with Vosh in 2020 in a project I agree with, right?
Yeah, but that was before. First of all, that was when Vosh was willing to like kind of be more electorally minded. Number one, number two. If you remember back in those days, remember when I did the panel with Vosh and Emma? Emma literally said, "This is all a waste of time. We have no influence anyway." And now she's super gung ho and excited because she's got a bunch of other tankies on panels with her, and now they're excited to drive like influence in that direction. So I mean. Like we can go and look at all the people invited. Like these are all like pretty hardcore, like single issue Gaza genocide. Like both sides are the same type voters. Like
all of them.
I said most of them. We can look at all the people on the panel. Most of them are probably like that. We can go back and recount up all the people. But like 90% of that PV thing was like about Israel. Like that's almost
yeah,
the
they're
only thing
very Israel
about.
brain, and I agreed with you there. But it's like, okay, if I'm going to look at like the majority report and disagree with like not a lot, maybe like 30 to 40% of like Emma's takes, and still say, hey, these people are still electoral. These people are still promoting good policy. These people are still trying to get the general, like promoting Kamala. They're going to promote Gavin, even if it happens. Like, I don't agree with Matt. Matt's like super tanky, but like Matt's the guy in the back who doesn't even have a camera. Like, do I just write these people off completely? And if so,
No, if you feel,
where do I
like
put my energy?
If you feel like
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
If you feel like you agree with about like 50% of what Emma says, then you're probably on that team. That's like the side that you're on. But then I just don't know why you either don't recognize it or you're also mask on.
Do you think?
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Emily is easily one of the most retarded people in media right now.
Wait.
You find that you're like,
are you talking about Emma Vigland, right?
True. Yeah, Emma Vigland.
Yeah, she has a bunch of fucking stupid takes. I don't think they're the majority.
I want to hear from Kraut because he's the guy invited on.
Well, no, but hold on, because like, Kraut, please, I need to address this because like, okay, Destiny, I know you've moved further away, and I think Sam has moved a lot further left in ways that I don't like. But like Sam Cedar of Majority Report, like you respect, I respect definitely as someone who like I think is very well read and analyzes these things mostly with a pretty level head. And if it's like, all right, if this guy's promoting it, I usually agree with most of this person's takes, if not, like 80%.
No, I don't feel that way about any of the Majority Report.
Not at all. Like you completely flipped on Sam.
Yeah, 100%. You can't have that many bad people around you for that long, and then like have none of the
like
none of the responsibility or burn. Yeah, that's just insane. Yeah, there's a reason.
Well, it's wild to me that like I think if anything, my view of this is similar to your your description of how this has gone, which is Sam has taken a bunch of positions I don't agree with over the years and has moved farther away from where I would agree with him back maybe 2018 time. But to say like, hey, I used to really respect you and now I have 180, I don't agree with a single thing that you're talking about or promoting. I just think that's insane. Like that's not, I don't think.
Yeah, I want to give it to Kraut and I got to use the restroom real quick, so I'll be right back. So Kraut, go ahead.
Kind of lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Sorry. No, don't worry. Fuck, where was it? Since you brought up Sam Cedar, he also did this thing of blaming the Russian invasion of Ukraine on NATO expansion and blah 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 blah. He also did that thing.
Really?
Yeah, all America. All of those people are like they hate the West, hate America. Yeah. Everything that is related to it is like evil and bad and terrible.
I think what I wanted to tell you is I see no obligation for people like the way all of this transpired, this takeover of Progressive Victory, and the first thing they did, right, was not like you keep talking about as if this was a policy organization, but one of the main reasons why we're talking here, certainly the reason why Wick invited me in here, was because the first thing these people did was turn around and attack their enemies. The first fucking thing they did was going after their personal vendettas, etc. It's the only thing they fucking do all the fucking time. And when you keep saying this thing where you say, oh, you need to work with people anyway, even if you have disagreements. This isn't just about disagreements. These are people who like talk about the way they engage with us is not a disagreement. It has the goal to have us annihilated. Their goal is to annihilate the center left, to annihilate the center in general, to drive it out of the political conversation. And as someone who is in the center, I see no reason to engage with someone like that, no reason to work with someone with that, even if there is some sort of supposed common goal. And I can't even think of what the common goal supposedly is right now.
Okay, well then this
because
is a
I don't
question.
see many common goals.
This is a question for you and
guys
Erudite and
Can I pose a question just because I barely got
men are talking. Go ahead.
And I know my mic is soft. I'm just genuinely curious your guys' thoughts because I don't think I actually know the answer, and I don't think it's obvious that there is a super clear answer. When you guys think about like how to party with, when I look at the right, for example, like MAGA, there's a lot of like unions that got built, even though we're now seeing they're actually very opposed to one another and they have a lot of issues, right? And I understand MAGA's super retarded, we all hate them, blah, 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 all the things that you guys need to say of like, yes, we fucking hate MAGA. The question that I would have is essentially, is there some level of like political unification on the left of like activating the left that has to happen where we do have to essentially break bread to some degree with people who are enemies? My question would be, but should you just keep in mind that there are enemies? Are there certain people that we can work with that are in like the retarded socialist, hates America?
Look at the MAGA coalition. Look at the MAGA coalition. They never emphasize their disagreements.
Yes,
they're experts.
They defend all of themselves no matter what. They're always got each other's backs, and they all support the candidate. That's the difference. On the left, these people do not support the candidate. Like you can't have. Like there's just no serious political commentator that was not like valiantly advocating to vote for Kamala Harris in 2024. Like anybody who was not on that page, like shouldn't have a voice in any left-leaning movement unless you're like 12 or something,
Okay,
right?
well,
Unless you're a
just-
literal child. Like
I agree with that. Now my question is, if I'm someone who's trying to emulate the type of stuff you did in 2020 and say, look, now I have an audience, now I have money, now I want to do something and actually get Democrats elected, and there's this organization that I should not work with because they have people like that in it, or work with people like that. What do I do with all that time, money, and energy if I can't form my own organization without the money or the time or the logistics?
For you.
Go ahead.
A buddy of mine says that there is a alternative to Progressive Victory, and he wants to give a quick pitch for it, right? So I'm going to bring him on, and he can maybe pitch it to you.
Sure.
Flow Trace.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what's up, Wick?
Yeah, you got something to pitch to Buddy Soito because he's asking for alternatives here.
Yeah, no, I would say you should go to digitalgroundgame.org. It is an organization run by a lot of us who actually did the PV program in 2024, and we're looking for, no shade or flame on PV necessarily, but looking for more of a center-left way to do similar kinds of that work, mobilize online communities, streamers, to do canvassing and stuff like that. It's pretty awesome. If you want to check it out, digitalgroundgame.org. We've got a Discord where everything happens.
Is this a Z's thing?
No, it is not. It is, I know, a very unfortunate name. It is, it's completely different. It's very similar. Z's is National Ground Game. Ours is Digital Ground Game. They are very similar names, and we love Z. We're great friends, but it is a totally different thing. We're all about organizing online communities, whether that's getting them to go show up to their local things, like we organize lots of people to go to No Kings or get involved in local Democratic parties, or more big things like canvassing events, canvassing houses, things that you've seen from sort of this online space previously. So if anyone wants to get involved, we're always more than happy to have more people.
Hey, add me on Discord, send me a message. This is a better alternative. That's what I'm looking for. It's what I've been asking for. But
thanks, Flow Trace. We're gonna let you go now.
Appreciate it, Wick. Have a good one.
Bye. Go ahead.
So should our only relationship with anyone, I guess, where's the line of where we would say, at this point, this person is shown to be so caustic that we can't? Is it not getting behind the dominant candidate?
I'm going to draw this line. I'm going to draw this line.
Does the candidate have to be Gavin Newsom, or are we far enough away?
It literally doesn't matter who the candidate is. None of that was a consideration for people on the right. Every single person there, you cannot name, even the centrist people were supporting Donald Trump. Nobody was. Are you
talking about people on social media now? Or are you talking about candidates?
It could be, no. I'm saying.
No, not you. I mean, Errod, right? Sorry.
I'm asking.
Drawn a line of association.
I'm asking which social media creators, specifically, we should be associating with.
Okay, the line that I've drawn is that everyone who, in any capacity, promoted bad empanada can burn in hell.
Oh, sure. I think that's good. But the issue is that's probably not actually as far as Destiny is drawing it, because there's probably a lot of people that don't support bad empanada.
It includes Hasan.
I agree, but there's but there's probably a lot of people that don't like bad empanada that are somewhat still masturbatory about being anti-American, or are very negative towards Gavin Newsom or any other strong
I still have to encounter that person. Another line I would draw is Ukraine. Everyone who is on, that's probably because it's more closer to me. Everyone on the wrong side of the Ukraine issue can go to hell. And basically, how you treat your opponents. I mean, one of the greatest things about being
Can you elaborate on that bit?
Well, one of the greatest things about being a liberal is that it's universalist. It's seeing the humanity in your opponent, seeing the humanity in those you disagree with, appreciating disagreement. And when you look at the Hasan sphere and the general sort of vicious, toxic leftist sphere around him, they obsess only with enemies and how to annihilate their enemies. That's not anyone who thinks in those ways, anyone who engages politics in these ways, who only draws the distinction between enemy and friend. Fuck that.
So I agree with that. I think that that's a really easy line, and I'm completely comfortable. The issue is that my suspicion is that there are more people that probably Destiny is suggesting that you don't work with, I could be wrong, that wouldn't fall into that category, that are maybe less caustic. But if you for example, typically one of my biggest lines is, do they want the eventual erosion of private property? Then I don't really think that they're on my team. The issue is that
only private property? What you have this funny thing with that. What is it with you and private property?
It's a pretty good rule of thumb. It's usually a pretty good rule of thumb. Usually people who are going to be anti-private property just are going to be fundamentally pretty open to tanky stuff. I just find it's a good rule of thumb. That's all.
Okay.
And it's a policy I'm very opposed to.
Okay.
I think we all have these. I might have even more kind of lines, But there's a different. I just also want to make a distinction between a difference between like anyone who wants to vote for my candidate, I will take your vote. It does not matter if you want to vote for them. Cool. But when it comes to working with you, I have a much higher bar than am I willing to collaborate with you? And I'm not just talking have you on the same stage as me, because I can have people I disagree with all the time. And I do have people I disagree with all the time that I would never work with, but I will engage with. But if you want me to collaborate with you and to go to your event, to promote your event, to basically be a figurehead or be part of whatever thing you got going, you do have to be liberal in nature, right? At least for me. And that's my line. I don't know what everyone else. What about you, Mr. Soy Pill? What are your lines? Where would you say I'm not going to work with this organization anymore?
I think definitely one of the lines, I don't know if it's the threshold, but one of the lines is if you're unwilling to support the Democratic candidates in the general because it's not your preferred, SOC DemSOC candidate or whatever the fuck they're trying to push in the primary, then you don't support us. You're just using us to support your candidates and then dipping immediately. I think Hasan clearly has indicated that he would do that, clearly, like based on all the rhetoric. So that's someone like if it was his org, then it's like, well, I know you're not going to help us when push comes to shove. But it seems like PV is going to do this, or at least has been doing it, and if they stop doing it, that's definitely a line.
What does it mean if PV is willing to do it, but if 80% of the people they work with aren't? Doesn't that just mean when it comes time for PV to rally support in the general, they're just not going to get any support for it?
If that's what I see happening, then yeah, I'm not sure that's the case.
Wait. When you keep saying if that's what is happening, by that point it's too late.
What do you have to be able to evaluate.
Well, like
if I had to choose between an org that could do something else, then yes.
No, I'm saying if it was 5 months working with PV, and then by the very end of like we're coming up to the general for the primary or for the midterms, and then it's like, oh shit, these guys aren't backing anybody else. I've made a mistake. At that point, it's too late.
What have I lost by contributing energy and time to them?
By contributing energy and support to people who are actually pushing for Democrats to win in the general.
Right, but if they didn't win, and if they're not going to help my candidate, and if there was no better alternative to me, ultimately it was a fruitless effort. But I haven't like made a choice that fucked me. It was just, oh, it turns out you're disingenuous. I'll never work with you again. But if it was, I had to choose them over an org that was actually going to do what I wanted to accomplish, that would be the lost opportunity.
Okay, so it's just the thing is that there's no other conceivable place where you can put your time right now besides an organization until
this DG digital ground game thing was brought to my attention. There wasn't a clear path forward here, and now it seems like okay, yeah, if it's a zero-sum game between dedicating my time and energy, I'm definitely picking the one where I'm 100% sure they'll vote for the Democrat and push for the Democrats and has an audience that'll promote that Democrat in the general. Then apparently this one who you're skeptical of, but I have yet to see evidence that they won't do that.
What was the example that guy gave earlier about, what was it? Let me look at this race that Jonah gave.
Governor's race in fuck.
I don't remember the which state it was the governor's race in. No, but he talked about phone banking, and to me, phone banking just isn't enough. I don't know. That's me, but whatever.
Well, sure.
I'm sure. Is there anything? Can we find? Is there anything on like PV's like Twitter or anything about them promoting this at all? Like, is this anywhere? Did this actually happen in a meaningful way, or
I'm double checking.
Yeah. Because this was an example that was brought up over and over again.
For
like,
Cheryl,
well, they supported this.
SHERILL.
Yeah, surely on their Twitter account they would have some support of her, correct?
Well, I don't know. That's what I was asking. But I mean, I can check. It's okay.
Apparently, you can't search on Twitter if you're permabanned. So sorry, I can't look.
NJ. New Jersey governor. Their preferred person lost.
Who was the person that they were supporting initially?
I don't know who the initial one was.
I don't know. Yeah, but who is? Hold on, let me look.
Okay, so they had a I think I'm understanding this. They had a progressive candidate they preferred. That person lost, and then they made calls for the Cheryl Still.
Mickey Sherrill is the New Jersey governor. Mickey Sherrill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do we see any promotion on their site? Do we see any promotion on their socials? Do we see any promotion of this?
Well, if they legitimately did phone banking, they might not have a ton of promotion. Unless we just think that Jonah's lying.
But I can point to you promotional material that they put out for the primary candidates, right? Like, so the primary candidates that were running recently in the election, I think in Chicago, I believe it was. Can we point to promotional material of a similar nature to Mickey Sherrill?
I can ask them.
Yeah, just
involved in this.
I guess we're looking, we're searching, we're trolling the webs, gang. Okay.
I have no idea what any of you are talking about because I do not know any of these people.
Wait, you don't know Congress people like hockey cards and have all their stats memorized? How could you?
While we're looking for that, Kraut, did you have any other thoughts on what's been said so far, or the issues that have been brought up, or things like that?
What? What do you mean about like leftists, about Tankies, about
working
Hasan
with
Piker?
them? At what point would you? At what point
no
won't
working.
you, et cetera, all these things.
My reference point here entirely is history. Like, I think I told you before that my dad used to work with anti-communist dissidents in Czechoslovakia in the 1980s. So a lot of my views of who these people are and how they operate is shaped by like how, like, the way the communists came to power in Czechoslovakia was in 1948 through a coup in which they overthrew the government. And the way they gained the power to get into government was by consistently lying to the Social Democrats.
Sorry, Ben, I just saw your chat. See if they'd be willing to have the Dems say explicitly that leftists are banned from the party and tell them to go somewhere elsewhere? Like a convoy? Well, no, they want that. Of course they want that. I don't have to ask that. But my question is that good? I don't think so. Did I see the live and learn art from Pisco? I didn't. Let me go look at that.
Of people, and then in February 1948 they did the coup and murdered everyone. And that's not just something that happened in Czechoslovakia, that's also something that happened in Hungary, where it was called salami tactics and infamously conducted by Matyas Rákosi, who then became the dictator of communist Hungary. Similar things also happened in Romania, in Bulgaria.
That's really cute. Who's this? Is it Taylor Lorenz? Why is my face... Oh, everyone's a cube. Okay.
As soon as they had power in Czechoslovakia, the first people they rounded up and had murdered were all the liberals and social democrats.
So I am seeing, just FYI, I am seeing them promote Mickey Sherrill.
I will say it's a little sarcastic. They literally say it's good enough after the preferred person lost. So it's definitely not a rousing support.
It's good enough.
I don't know. Definitely would not have been how I promoted an event, but that's just me.
Fair enough. I mean, so it's there. We got to give them their flowers for that.
It is there.
I will say that,
I'm curious.
I would criticize that as that could. No, go ahead.
Did the PV people? Did they ever? Now I understand that I'm persona non grata. But did they reach out to like Josiah or BTC or? Pac-Man
I don't know
Muffler
anything about their workings. I have no idea. I could. Do you want me to ask? The person I'm asking didn't even work with PV on any of these things. They just used to.
Well, sure. I'm just curious if they did because almost everybody that I think was like a recognizable like Democratic Party hater, super lefty person,
except for Mr. Beat and Niels, I think, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
What are your plans going forward? You're like all Americans, except for I can't pronounce your name. Sorry.
Dev.
Erudite, sorry.
Dev, yeah, that's
Dev is Canadian too, actually. Dev is Canadian too.
Yeah.
Erudite,
I'm the least American immigrant, okay? I get some flowers.
What are
I can't tell you what to do with organization
when it comes to the midterms.
Engaging it, like I'm not American. I can shit on these people all I want, and I'm going to. In particular, as long as they keep talking about Ukraine and keep talking bullshit about Ukraine. That's my plan for the future.
Oh, so
I mean, this is a good question, which is like the tactical versus the principle, right? And this is the actual tension I'm trying to sort out. What's tactically effective versus like principally effective? I think
there is no tactical effectiveness here because the people that are claiming to be tactically effective don't actually think the other side is that bad. Like the soy pill seems like he's in like 85% in agreement in terms of what they're saying, or he doesn't seem that huge
Well,
of a
hold
deal.
on. To be clear,
Stuff,
with like Emma, which not fucking Hasan, all right? Like these are very different people. The fact that I can't believe if you go watch like the Majority Report now, I feel like you'd agree with like 70-80% of what Sam Cedar is saying. If you disagree with that, I think we should go test it. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I can't believe that you wouldn't.
Well, one of the issues with this argument is that if even if we said that we agree with 70%, if the 30% that we disagree with is fundamental to like liberalism and like the things that we value as like the liberal camp,
it's not even it's not even fundamental to liberalism. We can move away from ideology. It's a one-way street. That's the issue. All of these things are one-way streets. They will never, ever, 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 ever come out and ardently support like a moderate Dem in the general.
Sam
like, a lot
does
of these
this.
People, Sam might maybe, but
Emma
whatever
did
amount
this.
he does is completely and totally destroyed by all the people he does around. Dude, when there was that election, the series of like special elections, it was like 6 months ago. I thought that Emma was legitimately going to kill herself on stream when all the moderate Dems were winning, because you could tell how fucking hyped they were to see all these Dems lose because they weren't as fucking wacky far left as they wanted them to be. Like this girl, it seemed like she had to like triple up on her Prozac to survive that night. I'm not even joking. She was so upset. Like these people are not.
Okay, if that's true, I have to readjust my 70-30. But to be clear, I know they don't like moderate Dems, but I'm pretty sure they'd support them.
You can't. It doesn't. Like. This is a dumb argument to have because everybody knows that I'm intuitively correct. So I don't know why I'm expressing this.
I don't, and I'm not doing it because I'm bad faith. I genuinely don't get it.
You do because I know you wouldn't apply this lens of thought to anybody else. I know you wouldn't. If somebody says, I want single-payer healthcare, this person is only pushing for a public option, okay? We're going to fight it out in the primaries, but if we just can't come to an agreement, I'll support them in the general. That's a position that is believable that a person can take and can advocate for their audience. Okay. If your position is this person is pro-genocide, they're a pro-genocidal Zionist, ethno-religious supremacist supporter, pro-genocidal, pro-apartheid state piece of shit, there's no. It doesn't matter what your words are. Like you guys would have used all these arguments against the neo-Nazis in the past. Oh, we're not racist. Oh, we're not anti-Semitic. LOL, because we said it. We can self-ID as not being this thing. If you spend the entire time attacking the left from the frame of like they're genocidal apartheid supporters, it doesn't matter if you pay lip service to supporting them in the general. It doesn't matter.
If I say that I think that Kamala Harris is promoting a genocide in Gaza, but I think it's absolutely imperative that we vote for her over Trump, is that an incongruent position?
If what?
If Kamala Harris is pro, destroying Gaza and genocide based on the policies that she's promoting, and that said, I think it's imperative that we vote for her over Trump and do everything in our power to stop Trump because it's 100% going to be better. How are these incongruent positions?
It's functionally incongruent.
How?
Because there's no way you're going to... Because how the fuck are you going to vote for somebody who's pro-genocide? That's an insane position.
Because it's impossible to look at the totality of an America and its policies around the world and say, I'm going to purity test based on one thing and recognize that there are better options no matter how bad you think someone is.
Literally what all of these people, Ryan Grimm and Emma and all these other people, is literally what they do.
Isn't this like a solvable question though? We just need to know, like, to what extent is the audience of Sam Cedar and Emma Vigeland, will they basically fundamentally always refuse to vote for like the broader party, or are they going to gripe? And I'm not saying that the griping and complaining again, because all that matters to me is tactics, right? Which is making sure that the left wins all of the upcoming elections and all these sort of things. And I agree with like kicking a lot of these people out of group. I've been a pretty staunch like kick the far leftists out. The question is tactically, for example, if you're a canvassing group, okay, so you're a DGGA and you're in Illinois canvassing for some moderate Dems. What if there is a socialist chapter locally that is willing to support you and canvass for your candidate? Will you work with them or do you cut them out?
This doesn't happen. I don't know why. Like, I don't even know if these people were willing to. Didn't the DSA pull their support from Mamdani?
This
idea.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know.
Ardently support general people. It's
I suspect it probably does happen some of the time, right? That they will show. Yeah, I think even in the federal election, we had a number of people that came out that were like socialists who were still willing to get in behind Kamala.
No, we're talking about like the bigger figures.
We're talking about the leaders. Right? Like I'm sure that liberals can get these people involved, sure, because some of them will, because the actual people, the audience themselves are not as radical sometimes as some of the content creators, or are willing to support another candidate.
I agree. So then, is there benefit of? Are there some content creators that masturbate on being anti-America that essentially could be utilized in such a way to pull them towards liberal causes that would be tactically beneficial for liberals? Does that exist?
No.
Whatever trade-off you're paying there, you're losing it to the whole like having all of your conversations held hostage by the same tired, retarded, fucking anti-billionaire corporate Dems. Both sides are the same anti-genocide Gaza talking points over and over and over and over again.
And liberals actually get their shit together and start making major movements and start making major waves and having bigger political media figures that we can actually get behind and work together, I'm all for that. The question is, tactically, as we're building that thing, is there going to be a point in time where you do get soy pills on more leftist spaces to have
some built because all of them are owned by Tankies that everybody's willing to work with. So those spaces can't even get off the ground.
The problem is we have a limited amount of time, energy, and resources to spend. And if we appeal to the Emma Vigneland's audience or to Ryan Grimm's audience, for every person we might get, right, from appealing to them, we're going to lose 10 who see us appealing to them and are disgusted by it. These people are a cancer.
It depends on what you mean by appeal, right? Because that's implying that I'm saying we have to like yes man their crazy policy.
What if they won't work with you otherwise?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true for every single like leftist essentially content. I just don't know if that's actually true. I would assume that that's true for the large ones. I would just grant you that, right? But I'm asking for like.
Thank you, Ben Riley. However, I'm going to have to say, how dare you make a fucking sports analogy in my chat? I'm banning you for 80 days.
You don't have to kowtow to everything. Are we able to work
I
with
have
these
to see that
individuals?
first. I'd have to see that first because that is not something that is out there right now. I do not see anyone out there who's willing to, like in that space, concede even a millimeter.
Can you think of one?
Off the top of my head, no, but I don't consume leftist content, so I don't know.
Well, that's a problem.
Well, hold on. My lack of finding this example isn't evidence that this cannot exist, right? And the
hold on,
question,
but you could probably name like 10 leftist content creators off the top of your head. It's problematic that you can't think of a single one, even if we don't consume leftist content.
There are a lot of things that have the potential to exist.
No. This has already been granted by me. I've already granted that I think the biggest ones are kind of write-offs. I think that this is a legitimate problem. This is why I would never work on an event that includes this on. Not that he would ever work on one with me either, right? Like this I've already granted. What I'm asking is like when you're getting to the minutiae of like what this actually looks like, there is a tactical question where you go, if you're doing an event that is supporting a moderate Democrat and Sam Cedar is willing to come out and support that moderate Democrat in the event, do you allow him to come through or do you block him principally?
This is like a question that is beyond some doors that have yet to be opened, which is why I don't think it's worth considering. Like this is a good problem to have if we have socialist groups that are willing to campaign in the general that are pushing for more extreme stuff in the primary. But that's not where we're at. We're at in a primary, it's over and over again, all of these like socialist types saying you're going to lose every single time until you fully endorse our platform because all you are pro-genocidal, pro-apartheid, and that's why the Democrats keep losing and fuck Gavin Newsom over and over again. That's all these people are saying. Look at the response to the hypothetical that Hasan got over no, it wasn't Hasan, it was between Hutch and Pisco or whatever, over like would you vote for Epstein? What was it, like Gavin Newsom or who in the general?
Was it
Gavin
Epstein
Newsom
or Hasan?
It was like fuck, what was the origination of this? It was JD Vance versus Gavin Newsom. I don't remember who got asked this initially.
Because we're talking about Hasan's thing and this led, okay, Hutch, are you going to have the same position if it was Hasan versus JD Vance? Who would you vote for?
Like these are GED level political commentator questions. You obviously would support Newsom regardless of how progressive or socialist you are. If you have trouble answering that question, then your opinion and your participation in any Democratic movement should be wholly discarded. Democratic Party movement. You're just not part of the same team. Like the sooner we realize this, we would just be so much better off for it. It's such an easy question. Like if you're there will never be elections or questions as easy as it is right now. And if you're genuinely stumbling on them, you're just you're fundamentally a different thing politically, which is fine, but just don't confuse it for being a part of the Democratic Party.
How much? So my confusion is that you constantly correctly point out that these people don't really have true power. They never get political movements off the ground. Their candidates mostly fail unless they're in super safe districts. So if all that's true, but they are able to have massive audiences and are able to throw support behind moderate Dems. If they do, that's the big if, then why is it worse to include them? How much more are they harming than they're helping if they're not powerful enough to actually subvert it?
Movements that could be politically effective.
So if Vox is willing to throw him behind Ro Khanna, is that good or bad? And do we work on a Ro Khanna event?
I don't care about Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna's on his own little island. Okay, that's like a unique. He's like a snowflake them. I'm just saying that in general. I'm just saying that in general.
Say he's willing to throw in behind Pete Buttigieg.
100%. That'd be cool. That'd be great. That'd be great. But what I'm saying is that the way that these people work is they just overwhelmingly. They hijack the Democratic Party's messaging so that we have to talk about shit that they care about, that the broader electorate doesn't care about, that overwhelmingly slants like younger, whiter, more affluent. And then even if they're not like it's not like they're so powerful that they can win elections, because if they could, they would go and fucking have their own candidates in places instead of just trying to leech off the Democrats. But just because you're not powerful enough to win your own races doesn't mean you can't dramatically negatively impact
I agree.
the races
And I
that are on
actually,
your side.
I just
Well, was thinking
realized
for
so,
advocacy,
a
yes, that.
socialisty type of person that will throw in behind Dems and consistently does so. I think ContraPoints is a good example of a type of person who's probably more socialisty coded.
Hold on, but this is the worst example you could ever give.
How is
because
this the worst
ContraPoints-
example?
Because ContraPoints would agree with every single thing I'm saying a billion times over. ContraPoints' entire online existence has been, holy fuck, leftists are fucking terrible. Excise them from your movements.
So
That's been our
is your
whole
line
journey.
just agreeing that leftists are evil? Because that's fine. I agree with that. Okay, I have no problem with that line
No,
necessarily.
my line for the 50
but I
millionth
don't
time
know
is
if that's a
people
good
that aren't
line.
going to ardently support your candidate in the general should never be included.
Okay, but ContraPoints is an example of somebody who is a type of, you asked for a type of socialist content creator who would throw in behind the general. I'm saying ContraPoints is that type of person. So will we work with ContraPoints? My answer
We
is
would work with
obviously
ContraPoints,
fucking yes.
Of course.
Of course.
Because she
Of
passes my
course.
simple test of will they support their candidate in the general? Yes.
Okay, FD Signifier. He threw in hard behind Kamala. Do we work with FD Signifiers to fight the fact that he's actually, I think, an ML, if not further? I think he might be further than an ML. I'm not totally
I would
sure.
have to see if he actually threw in hardcore behind
I think
Kamala.
Sure.
I don't even know what that is.
A large content creator on the left, BreadTuber.
Okay.
And I agree that there are very few ContraPoints, right? FD Signifier might not count. But what I am saying is that it's really important that our tent captures the ContraPoints and doesn't chase them out. It's really,
That's
really
super
important.
easy to do. Yeah, that's super. But ContraPoints is an incredibly rare cupcake snowflake. Like if you watch
Sure.
her Twitter and shit, it seems like most of the time she's just getting shit on or hated by other
Sure.
leftists.
Sure, but when you asked me for an example of this type of creator, it took me a bit, but that would be one example of this type of person.
Well, you
And
don't
so
even
if
have to
they-
go that
accept
left,
that
Kyla,
possibly
because
do
like
exist, we,
Destiny,
of
you
course,
brought up
would,
earlier,
right?
like, okay, someone who thinks that Kamala's position on Israel is abhorrent is incongruent with someone who says we need to vote for Kamala over everything and throw all of our support.
That's not what
Like,
I said.
Okay, what did you say? Sorry.
When you fail to understand what I'm saying over and over and over
Okay,
again.
well, I
I'm
failed.
not
Please tell
saying-
me. I'm sorry.
If you're constantly like, if you're screaming that a person is pro-genocide, pro-apartheid over and over and over again, you've removed that person from the conversation of being able to actually support this person in general election. There's just most people just won't be on board with that. It's just not possible. That's you have to recognize that there's your audience is never going to be able to turn their nose and be like, oh, fine, I guess I'll vote for the pro-genocide, pro-apartheid candidate.
No, I'm aware that that kind of rhetoric can absolutely turn a good chunk of your audience away. My question is how you think this is completely incongruent from that person saying, hey, like, if you think your entire audience is willing to accept everything you're saying about them, as nasty as you're being, but then completely ignoring you, and you say, look, I think this is abhorrent. However, obviously this is the materially right, correct, moral thing to do, and you all need to go do it, and they're dick-sucking Kamala during the general. Like, how are these things opposed? Like, these are things that I know the majority report did. I obviously Hasan and I don't know Vash, like, those people won't. Absolutely not. They've already signaled that they won't. They definitely didn't last time. But, like, there's people like me who can say, yeah, I think this is abhorrent. I didn't shit on Kamala nearly so much as some of these other people did. I didn't even have a platform at the time. But the idea that this is like, oh, and therefore, like, going out and throwing your material weight and telling your whole audience and mobilizing them to go door knock and canvas, like, that's not enough. Like, I don't want those people to be excised from the movement. They're clearly going to full throat support the people that I need to get elected when it comes to shove.
Yeah, the line definitely can't be full-throatedly anti-leftist, because I think a lot of like performative leftists that are soft leftists would be turned away from something like that we could otherwise like absolutely work with. Tilly is another.
I will
that Tilly's
concede to
not
that.
American. Yeah. So like that's why I'm saying like, what are the rules of thumb? This is why I typically say like, I don't know, the policy that I feel like you can kind of somewhat test people on is, do you want to get rid of private property? If you have another one that you would like to use instead as a rule of thumb, that's fine. But I don't think it can be you are vocally, aggressively anti-leftist. I don't think that that's the line necessarily, right? Because then we're excluding Tilly's. We're excluding potentially slay the GOPs. Instagram has a lot more of these types of content creators that are going to be leftist coded because they're not that deep in their political philosophy and they're born in LA, but they're actually liberals that just don't really know it yet, essentially. And if you say, I'm anti-leftist, you're going to lose them because they're going to be afraid of losing their audience, which is why
Just real quick. Dev, you sent me this.
Yep.
Am I reading this wrong? Here, I'll show it on screen. Give me a second. And you sent me something too, Soy Pill. If you want me to still show that, we can.
Yeah,
but
sure.
here's
We
FD
can move past it.
Signifier, and he's basically saying he didn't campaign for Kamala.
Oh,
Yeah, this is an exchange from a month ago where he's getting blasted by a far lefty for supporting the Dems, and he's like, "No, I didn't do that actually." Don't
Yes,
period
he
test
says,
me
please
out.
point me to the video where I campaigned for Kamala Harris
Oh,
and
that
low
guy.
key throw
Yeah,
slides.
he's also one of the people who promoted Bad and Banana Bad in the day.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this. The weird Drake obsession sounds like a you thing, and being mad about switching thumbnails is so petty. It makes me mad that I responded to this.
Okay.
Crying face.
Then not FD signifier. That's fine, right? But then we've got Tilly's, we've got ContraPoints, right? I especially suspect on Instagram, you're going to find a lot more of these kind of like, even like people like Naimas, for example. If we say we're anti-left.
Yeah, sorry if this moves me down on the problematic white boy tier list, but FD, come on, man. You got to campaign for Kamala. That's bullshit.
Like in LA.
These types of obsessive conversations, I think, are the reason why, even as Republicans plummet, Democrats are like always just like fucked when it comes to popularity or approval. Because on the Democratic side, we're just constantly asking these questions of like, can we please bend and kowtow as much as possible to these people who fucking hate us and trash us constantly and shit on all of our candidates and call us pro-genocide, like all these horrible things over and over again. What can we do to appeal to these people? That's like what the Democratic Party is just always bending itself backwards over to do. And I think there's a reason why.
It's because we constantly eat our own. Yes, it's because we constantly eat our own.
No, we don't.
Yes, it is.
Do. No, they do. The people on the far left do, and you want to keep including them. They're the ones who are eating our food constantly. Yes.
You're inviting Hannibal Lecter to the dinner table and wondering why everyone's getting eaten.
I agree. I have been swatted and doxxed and attacked by these far leftists just as much as probably more than almost anyone but Destiny. Probably more than literally everyone but Destiny on this panel. So you're preaching to the fucking choir when you're talking about like the problem with these type of people. The thing that I am pointing out is what is tactically effective here. That's all I'm talking out. And I don't think just spite-driven lines is effective. You actually have.
I am not entirely.
I'm not saying you're proud. I'm not saying you're proud. I'm talking about Destiny.
I'm just saying it's not spite driven. It's that you need to have strong, like liberal things that like liberal people that people are advocating for. And that once you create them, you don't agree.
Yes, of course I fucking agree. What all of my career is supporting you and supporting liberal content.
That's not what we're talking about. It's not just about you. I don't know. That has nothing to do with anything. Here's the thing. The most irrelevant thing in this conversation right now. What I'm saying is that if I want a leftist candidate, I can find leftist influencers that are big, bad, awesome leftists. They're shitting on all the Democrats. They're shitting on all the Republicans. And it feels good. You say all these people are on Instagram and TikTok. Of course they are, because they're allowed to be there and they're allowed to talk about how horrible the genocide is and everything else. But as liberals, you can't create those people to those spaces. You constantly have to run further left and appeal to those people.
Yes.
And it becomes a self-perpetuating problem.
I am trying to parse out. I am trying to parse out. Hold on. No. I'm making sure my position's clear so that it doesn't get like turned into something else. I am trying to parse out what will work most effectively. That is all I am trying to figure out here. I'm not actually strictly advocating for any direction right now. I'm actually poking holes and questions into positions that are stronger so that I can decide for myself. Because I think, for example, one of the big issues that you're pointing to with the leftists is that they're eating our own. They're eating the liberals. They are constantly attacking it. And I think one of the big issues that liberals have is we don't support each other very much. I suspect right now that your audience right now is fucking shitting all over Niels and shitting all over me super nastily, despite the fact that we are literally aligned, right? And so this type of behavior, I think, is a leftist problem and is a liberal problem and is always going to create issues. I think
over liberal things. It's over supporting the cannibalistic leftists.
Build things up. I don't think it's
like you're asking the right question, and I don't disagree with your question, Erudite. Is what is most tactically efficient? What should we be doing in order to win? The argument that I am making, and I think Destiny is making, is that by inviting these leftists in, even you may gain a few of their followers, even some of them might work with you, and you might be able to have some of them vote for you. There's going to be negative externalities or negative things will happen because you do that.
Wick, you already said this. If you give me evidence that this hurts more than it helps, I agree.
Let me fucking finish, okay? They are going to drive away other voters. That's more moderate voters, more center-leaning voters are going to see you appealing to these or working with these people, and they're going to leave. They're not going to want to work with you anymore because they know how they operate. There's going to be a lot of these people in their audiences that are going to come in that don't have the same morals as their streamer person that they're following, that are absolutely going to behave like the evil Hannibal Lecter leftists that we're talking about and just destroy any kind of sense of unity within whatever organization you're trying to make. Just real quick, and then we'll let you.
Do we work with Tilly's?
No,
I don't
She's
know
a
if she's a
leftist.
leftist, but she's British. There's a British person.
I
know. Use the
talking
example
to
of Chile
Canadian.
because I've given ContraPoints, I've given Tilly's. I don't know where Slay the GOP is exactly on Newsom, so I'd have to vet that one out. Naima might be an example. Do we work with these people who will identify as leftists and won't want to work with us if our position is doggedly anti-leftist?
I
Right?
do actually.
wait.
I actually talk with a lot of leftists. I associate with some of them, and one thing that they all have in common, those at least that I associate with, is they all got chewed out and purity tested by Hasan Piker and co. So I think a great place to tactically start, if you're going to build bridges into the far left or into leftist corners or whatever the fuck you want to call them, good place to start is to go for those, to engage with those who got purity tested and chewed out by that monstrous fucking
And I would always say
abomination
the
that is
way to
building
tell-
up over there.
The
Well,
way
a
to
lot
tell
of
who
them
works
went
somebody is
right,
the
unfortunately.
way to tell is do they support the candidate?
Oh, that's the
it.
MAGA
It has nothing to do
tactic.
with-
That is the MAGA tactic that has worked so perfectly since 2015. It's you like that's what people like
I agree with you,
Lupus,
Kyle. Just so-
Sagan and Co. What they did, they always
a
go
soft
after the
landing
people who
spot.
were chewed out by their own. So yeah, we go after the people who we built the bridges to the people who got chewed out by people like Hasan
I
and Co.
agree, but
That's
the
what
issue is
I
a lot of
assess.
those people now have unfortunately like landed on the right in such a way that I think a lot of
Yeah,
people
because we
on the
didn't
left
catch
wouldn't be
them.
willing.
We
I
didn't
agree.
catch them.
I
We
agree
didn't-
with you.
yeah.
I totally agree with you. Right? I totally
And it
agree
doesn't
with you.
mean that, it like saying, oh, yes, but this example and this example, therefore let's not do this anymore. That's not exactly something that works.
Yeah. So what I would point out here, and all I would say here, is that if the line of thumb of who you do and don't work for is their vocality of being anti-leftist, I think it's not sophisticated. I'm just trying to parse out what.
Yeah, sorry, Ben Riley, this is very true, and FD has vocalized these to me, and you're going to have to wait till we get a little more left to even talk about those.
At this point, I'm saying that you just don't support people that aren't like valiantly support the candidates in the general. That's it. It's not about being a leftist or
But
a
these
socialist
people
or whatever.
might
That's it.
not. I suspect
Then you don't have them
Naima-
on your team. Then they're cancer. You don't work with
Well,
them.
what
Then
if they're
Naima's
willing?
cancer. I don't
Well,
know
what
anything
if
about
they're
them, but they're cancer.
critical of Gavin? Well, the issue is which candidate do they have to support right now, ardently? What if they say,
One that's running.
Of course. What if they say something like, I of course will support Gavin Newsom. Say he wins, okay? It's Gavin Newsom for president, all right? That would be my dream, okay? If they say, I'll of course vote for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance, but they go, but I would have had different preferences in the primaries. Is that okay, or are they out too?
What do you think?
I would include them.
Of course.
No, what do you think my
Desi's
answer
already
to
said,
that
of
question
course,
is?
he would include those
Yeah,
people.
wait, that's such a
Include
ridiculous
them.
question. If their position was, I would have supported somebody different, but I'll support them in the general. Obviously, this is the person to be included. This is not 99% of the people that we're talking about, though.
Okay, but what if you have people right now that are further like this that do become like this? Like, what if instead of Gavin Newsom winning, Pete Buttigieg wins, and so suddenly Sam Cedar is willing to throw in behind Pete Buttigieg?
Okay, to
I'm
be
not
clear,
saying he
Sam would
will
also throw
necessarily.
behind Gavin, I'm pretty sure.
Sure, regardless, do we work with them now or do we not because they've been so caustic? Because they have.
No, we can
been
wait and work with them
caustic.
in the general. If they want to support us in the general, we work with them in the general. But we're fundamentally misaligned in the primary, so support other content creators. Support your
Okay.
libs.
Hold on. Let me
What
ask
if
you
they're
this,
willing
Destiny.
to vote
Just
for
real
Gavin
quick.
Newsom, but also vehemently critical of his connections to AIPAC? So they say, I would vote for him because he's better than fucking JD Vance.
But he's still a
it's
genocidal
more
maniac.
tongue in cheek. But he's still a genociding AIPACer. But of course, I'm going to vote for him over a fascist. What if that's their position? Do we work with those?
We can
folks?
I think we can do better. I think we can do better than that.
Yeah, there are other lines. Like, even if they're willing to give lip service to our general candidate, if the whole time they're saying, all these candidates are corporate shills who do not have your best interest at heart, that will just sell you out, that they're the Epstein class, they're the fucking, they're AIPAC shills, all these things. No, we don't want you. We don't want to work with you. We want people who support us.
That's where we probably disagree. It seems to me less tactically sound because if they're willing to work together but still be super critical of Gavin Newsom, I'm broadly still going to just be willing to work with them, right? The people that I'm not going to be.
It's not just being critical; it's how they're.
It's that's
I don't know why
sabotaging.
the word games here are really funny tonight. I don't know if this is intentional or not. Like, I don't understand. You and Storypill keep doing this. If they're going to be critical, who the fuck is talking about being critical? We're talking about calling somebody a genocidal supporting Zionist freak. That's not being critical. It's being unhinged. This is like a different kind of like. There is not a single person in here, and if there is, then fuck them. Whoever is saying this, I don't think anybody here is saying this. Who's saying we can't accept people who are critical in the primaries of our candidates? I don't think a single person in here is saying that, or has ever said that, or will ever have that position.
When I say critical, I mean when I say critical, I mean the level of nuance and sophistication that I expect from the majority of these. Like, I'm a leftist because I don't know much more and I live in LA type creators. That's about what I expect, and I do expect them to call him
from
a
Sam
genocider.
Cedar, from Emma Vigeland.
I'm not talking about Sam Cedar anymore. I'm talking about people like
the problem that I have with your hypotheticals
these types of creators. Right? They're going to be less informed. They are leftist, but they're leftist because they're in LA to some degree, and they probably
the problem with your hypothetical though is that it doesn't really correlate with reality. That's not what happened in the last election. It's not what happened. Well, we didn't have these far left people come around and like, oh yes, Kamala is like. In the thing that you described, where they're begrudgingly supportive of a candidate, that's not what they did.
I agree. I agree because liberals didn't have anything.
Do not vote, third party, blah blah blah.
I agree. I agree with you entirely because I think that there was literally almost no media, community, social structure for liberals.
Do you think it would have changed had liberals been like, "But we really, really want you, please"?
That's not what I'm advocating.
Yeah, no one's advocating for capitulating to these people.
I'm not saying lick the boots of people who want to destroy America and hate Democrats and want to destroy it. I'm not saying that, obviously.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that.
Well, that would be the conclusion of that, right? If I'm
no, I don't think so.
Please, Hasan, will you let us on? It's like that's pathetic behavior. What I want mostly for liberals to do is support other liberals and rally around each other. The main thing that I want to make it clear is that we are a soft landing place for people who like call themselves leftists who do use things like genocide.
What do you mean with support other liberals?
What?
What do you mean? What do you mean with like this is like the third or fourth time? So I'm curious to ask, what do you mean with liberals don't support liberals? What do you mean with that?
For example, engaging with one another positively in content, trying our best not to endlessly critique one another as we are doing right now.
That's not what we're doing right now.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Try to build
random memey things, but
these aren't memey things at all. I don't know why you keep producing.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
People in the movement that say they want to destroy the movement.
I don't know why Destiny's accusing like Kylo of word games. Like he knows her and her positions. It's very strange that he's like being like, oh, you're being so dodgy. Like I can get him doing that with me, but not her.
Harry.
Sure. Okay. So what about people who are not very sophisticated, but do some level of political content, like Enemy Charlies and Naimas? What do we do with these leftists who probably do call Gavin Newsom a genocider because they live in LA and all their friends are doing that, but probably could be polled and probably would be willing to rally around and behind certain moderate Democrats? Do we work with them? That's what I'm trying to ask.
No.
What does that have to do with liberals supporting liberals?
Why? Because we don't have to.
Well,
the right
I'm moving away from the
never,
liberals.
ever had to think about questions like this. Like, do I bring somebody on who says they're not going to support Trump? Do I like they didn't do this? They just don't work with those people, and they pick people who support the candidate.
Yeah, get on the team, right? If you want to be on the team, you can be on the team. We'll accept you, but you got to come to us. Right? Is that
these people don't even have real political power in terms of they can't get any of their candidates elected. They don't go and win primaries anywhere outside of like the deepest, bluest, most Democrat prepared places. I don't understand why the conversation is capitulating to them.
Because
it should be them saying like, well, how much
they have a lot of social media power because our politicians want to work with them, right? That's the reality.
Because we keep accepting these people into our movements because nobody's doing anything to audit these people, and because there's this weird acceptance on the left of having to work with Tankies and shit. It's never happened on the right. They don't do this on the right.
How do you pull the Naimas towards the liberal side effectively?
I don't know. I don't care. I'd rather create more Mocklers and more Luke Beasleys and more of these types of people than try to figure out how to appease or appeal to people that don't seem to be supportive of the party.
Yeah.
It's wasted energy. Like, look, I would love to these people.
Erudite. I'll put it like this. Okay,
go ahead.
The neocons invited MAGA in, and then they got destroyed. The liberals shouldn't do the same with the far left.
I'm no longer talking about the far left. I think I don't know where, so I'm not going to put words. My position.
Wait, now we're talking about liberals again? What?
I am talking about this space between somebody who is actually a tankie, who knows what they're talking about and means their positions, right? Like a Hasan or a Vosh, versus people who their politics aren't overly sophisticated. It's mostly a result of their culture. They happen to be probably an LA socialite. And so they're in this socialist progressive camp, and they probably identify as a leftist. I'm asking, what do we do with these people? Because I actually think that they have a lot of value.
If it's not a guy who's not even strongly committed to anything, then fine. You do events with them, I guess, sure.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
I wouldn't know any
I will
specific
disagree,
examples of
and I'll
such a
say why.
person.
Right? I think that, like, well, if they want to work with you, that's fair. I don't think we should try to appeal to them. I don't think we should try to kind of reach out to them, because I think that
No one's
the
suggesting this.
people who are going to give us more value, and what I mean by that is votes, to be clear, votes. I don't care about clicks on social media. I care about what, only in so much as it translates to actual votes on election day, whether that be primary election day for my preferred primary candidate or in the general election. We reach out to the people who have a history of voting, right? Who have a history of participation, who are gettable. And we do that by sticking to our liberal values. One of the problems that we have, and one of the reasons we look weak, is because we're constantly trying to appeal to these people who aren't going to give us anything.
Where's this
They're not gonna
constant
give us the
appeal
vote.
I'm seeing? If anything, it seems like the opposite is happening, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, by the way, but like I'm not suggesting we appeal to these people. It doesn't seem like a lot of people are. The only thing I'm seeing is that people want to go on platforms that are big, that happen to be run by leftists, but they're not appealing to those leftist like policies. They're not trying to shift their platforms.
They are appealing to them because those leftists are controlling the conversations. That's why we just had a PV thing where 90% of the conversation was about Israel-Palestine.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's the thing, that when people are watching it, that's a both sides issue. Like, both sides are equally bad on Israel-Palestine. And the way forward
and so
is...
when Whicks says, and this is something I'd agree with, when Whicks says, if you partner with these people, if you're a politician, you're on that panel where Hasan, and they're saying some unhinged shit, and they're like posting this with like all the clips of Hasan saying more unhinged shit, that probably will lose you more support with voters than it would gain from you working with a person like that. And that's why I'm like, yeah, that's probably bad. Versus, hey, this person said, I'm going to canvass for the general person. I'm not saying this has happened yet. Let's just say this is the case. I don't see any reason to reject that help.
Yeah, I guess. Just the examples we're giving up are things that have just never, ever happened. So I'm not even sure how to like evaluate these examples.
We just saw that PV is throwing out fucking help for the person in the general that they don't support. As sardonic as it might be, they generally care.
PV threw out a tweet for the other person that we did see that.
Tweet that was a call to their phone banking event that helps get them elected.
Okay.
That's good, right?
Okay.
No, it's not. It's a magnitude question. You would understand this in any other circumstance, but for here we're pretending we don't. I guess.
I don't know why you always accuse me of shit like that. Like, it's like, at worst, I don't understand. I promise you, I'm not like purposely fucking like obfuscating this.
Before I forget, let me read some of these super chats so we don't have another incident, okay? And then we'll I want to hear from Dev a little bit. He's been very quiet. He does this thing where he's just quiet.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I prepared for a completely different kind of conversation.
I know it's on. Indifferent.
No, it's fine. It's fun.
Are you also streaming on your channel?
No.
Why? Make some money. Like no work, make money.
I keep telling him to co-stream these, but he never listens to me. Anyway, let me read.
I'll upload the VOD for sure.
Yeah, let me read some of these. Okay. Riz, what the fuck, for 2 months? Tier 2 membership. Dev Crout and Wick Heart. Thank you. $2 from Chris History 101 says, Kraut, will you review the new Ralph tape with PPP?
Oh God, no.
No.
Have you actually kept up with Ralph Kraut?
Yeah, he's in Mexico now, right?
I think he got arrested in the States a couple weeks ago. He came back.
Okay. Yeah.
$5 from Zontar to say, tomorrow, can you guys do a stream watching the Artemis 2 launch? It'd be really cool seeing the first manned lunar orbit mission in our lifetime. I don't know if anyone's going to do a stream on that. I'm probably not, honestly. But $5 from Riz, what the fuck, to say, I've seen both of you get into usually ugly pylons on Twitter, and you both handle it really well. How do you deal with that without getting shook?
It's really fun.
What do you mean?
That's really it.
Shook.
Yeah. Well, when you're fighting
like
online.
The thing is that this thing that people say, where they say that it's only online, it doesn't really bother people. That's not true. It does actually, but it's just the extent to which you let it bother you, and over time it can build up. I mean, I guess in online fist fights like this, it's when you get dogpiled in particular, it's always important to just take a step back and some fresh air before you respond to anything. Always important to do that, to think about if it's even worth responding.
And just remember, on the other side of the screen, everyone's a fat loser, and you're better.
No,
than
that's
them.
not true. That's not true. That is not true either. That's actually not necessarily a healthy way to see this either.
So I think maybe like 5 years ago I would have agreed with you, Kraut, but something happened in the past couple of years where now I just really love all the fighting. Something changed in me, and I'm just like, yes,
I hate it. I
let's
hate
fight with
it.
everyone constantly.
I hate it.
Hopefully, you guys don't get too much pushback from this panel. I worry about that sometimes, that people get a lot of hate for just talking about Hasan and talking about leftists in general.
Oh,
I'm fine with
Hasan
that.
supporters, by the way, that are trying to dig through Kraut's old stuff to find videos of him with Worski. So, it's a heads up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. They've been doing this for years.
That's what that space does. That's what these like far left people do.
Well,
That's
yeah,
what
like
these people have done
I
for
criticized
years.
Hasan like yesterday, and my mentions all day have been like, "You fucking suck, Wick. You are the worst," right? And so, anyway.
That's why we're doing this stream. I don't know how we got detracted into this. It's become genuinely uncomfortable to be a liberal creator online.
Yep.
Because of people like Hasan.
I think people like Hasan, but also I think like liberals do a bad job of supporting each other. Like I think liberals constantly don't feel like they have a space that they're allowed to talk.
What do you mean with support? Like the thing
really
about
simple.
us is
Okay,
we're
really
very
simple.
disconnected. I don't really often talk to Destin and so forth, and I actually see this as a good thing. I appreciate the fact that we're not like the MAGA social media sphere where some figure gives out marching orders on what should be said, and everyone is like, "Jawohl, mein Führer," and goes out and spouts the same nonsense.
Also,
I don't like that. I don't want this to be like Hasan.
The reason why it's hard to support liberals is because of the type of people we're talking about inviting into this thing. The reason why Hasan it's one of the big reasons why. Like Hasan doxed every single person he could in PV because of their association with me. That was the only reason he did that. Hasan calls Dylan Burns a war tourist or jumps on and shits on fucking Loaderbox, who's literally been on an island for like 12 months of content. Like Hasan has almost single-handedly tried to destroy this guy's career because of any resemblance to being pro-Israel or being associated with it. Like that's what these people do. And then the conversation
I agree.
Like,
you don't have to explain leftist doxing to me. I've personally experienced it and working to it. What I'm talking about with like liberals supporting each other. Yes, I agree. The leftists trying to destroy us is one of the biggest issues. Liberals always have it coming from both sides at all time, right? At all times. And so I agree with that. But I think one thing that liberals could do better to be proactive, rather than just being like, the fucking leftists are destroying us, is being more proactive at supporting each other. This is actually, I think, something that Destiny, you're uniquely good at, right? You allow anyone to come on your platform. You typically try to support smaller content creators, right? But like, I think it's really important, for example, that like in liberal spaces to have slightly soft landing places. Like me and Soypill disagree on certain stuff about like how to interact with things. I disagree with Josiah. I disagree with you. But we should like broadly try to do our best to like have criticisms for each other, but also have a decently soft landing place for one another and give a lot of grace to one another in a way that I see progressives will do with one another.
You mean that we have a corner where we jerk each other off? I don't necessarily see if that's...
This is not... What you're talking about has nothing to do with soft landing places. You're talking about inviting people... Like, soft landing spaces are where you have areas to de-radicalize people who have more or less disavowed, like, the political ideology that they're coming from, or, like, are on the verge of doing it. You're talking about accepting people who see themselves as utilizing you to energize and supercharge their political ideology.
No, you're misunderstanding what I'm talking about right now. I understand why you're saying that. I'm not talking about right now, just what's going on. I'm not talking about like the socialists at all. I'm excluding them. I'm only talking about people actually who identify in the liberal camp or are in a liberal camp. And when I say a soft landing place for liberals, I'm not talking about converts, but I understand why you were confused. I'm actually talking about other liberals. Like, for example, I typically try to go out of my way all the time to give other liberal content creators as many opportunities as I possibly can to like get into other spaces. And when progressives on Instagram started thinking I was a progressive, I started getting a whole bunch of offers, and I very quickly had to be like, just, I'm not really, I got a lot of Gaza offers and stuff. And I would be like, respectfully, I'm probably not the person that you're looking for necessarily here. But on liberal spaces, I see us doing very little of this, right? We very little, like Course is probably the best example that liberals have done.
That is part of who we are.
It was very nepotistic. What, Kraut?
That's part of who we are. That's part of our principles. We like pure pluralism. We embrace pluralism. We're also disconnected. There is no such thing as a liberal community online. There's a liberal space because we embrace difference. We embrace doing things We
I
embrace
agree,
the
but this is why we
disagreement.
should be able to unify better. Like, you should be going and engaging with Short Fat Otaku and just like promoting and
Like,
retweeting and promoting some of his
maybe
content
coming
if
on
you
a
support it.
panel together to talk about our issues with leftists in the space and others. Maybe
Well,
something.
but also, like, if you get hit with an opportunity from a candidate that you actually think another liberal content creator would be a better fit for or should be pulled along, see if the candidate will work with this other liberal content creator too, right? When you see, for
Networking
example,
better?
when I see any liberal content creators' content, I try to like and retweet and like create a little bit more engagement for their content so that we can like win the culture war, right? So like maybe this is an inherent nature to like what liberals tend to be like. But at the same time, we should try to countermand it so that people want to stay in this space and we're supporting one another and we like build something because we're getting it from all sides all the
This
time.
place. I think people do want to stay in this space, but the thing is also, how do I put it?
It's not other
in
liberals that are
terms of-
driving them out. I'll say that.
Do you mean in people staying in this space? Do you mean the audience or do you mean other creators?
Other creators, I think. If I'm
Other
understanding your
creators.
question. I think so. If I'm understanding your question.
Yeah,
but
like I said, I don't think to piggyback off Kraut, maybe Kraut has a different answer. It's not liberals who are primarily driving others out of these space. Again, the reasons why it's sometimes hard to get people. If I have a show with Destiny, I have to make sure everyone knows that Destiny's going to be there because there's certain people who won't go on because they know that if they go on with Destiny, that they're gonna catch hell.
That's the thing that I've had experience for the last 8 years of my life. Basically, every creator I publicly associated with instantly gets barraged with, this guy used to be an anti-SJW YouTuber. You should not. Yeah, you should not. Like, it's like, that's true. Now that you're pointing
I agree,
this out,
and I think that's like the biggest issue.
We're not even purity testing ourselves. It's outsiders who come in who do not hold themselves to our fucking principles and then try to blackmail us on the basis of our principles.
I agree, and I think it's why, in some ways, we need to be a little bit more gentle with each other because we should recognize that we're like getting it so much from like one another. Like I just dominantly,
with each other.
Yes, like for example. What I don't know.
The problem is that we barely engage with each other, and I think that is a good
That's
thing.
The
that we all have a
problem.
separate.
That's like
Destiny does
pluralism
his
doesn't mean
streaming. I do my
antithetical of
videos.
community. Yeah, this is maybe the problem, right? Pluralism should not imply anti-community. But what we kind of have for liberals right now is a bit of an anti-community. There isn't like this large community. Chorus was the best thing that we have, but like it's getting attacked by leftists again, right? But also it was like pretty nepotistic. There wasn't like, there were the people that were involved in it are the people who were like already friends with a lot of these types of content creators. And I think that like this stuff has to pull together a little bit better if we're ever going to pull people towards our sides. For people who thought like Hawes, for example, like, or Sonsol back in they thought that they were leftists and socialists, and then they interfaced more with like liberals and stuff, and they're like, oh no, I'm definitely a liberal, right? Like like we need to be more effective at having this community space. Otherwise, yeah, nobody's ever going to rally behind each other because unfortunately you need numbers to change and move things.
Okay. $5 real quick. Let me get through a few more of
The
these.
problem, like when I think of like online communities. Sorry.
But...
No, you do. Go ahead. It's your stream. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, well, you're my guest, buddy. £10, I should say. Sorry, £10 from Riz. What the fuck to say? Recommend checking out Neil Kinnock if you don't know him. When our party was being taken over by these people, he famously said, "It's our party, damn it," and refused to let them win. I'm not sure about Neil Kinnock. I don't know him. Maybe you guys do.
He was the leader of the Labour Party during the Thatcher era.
Fair enough. Bogsy for $2 at Kraut. Read the old days. Do you still talk with laymen?
No.
Okay. Oh, well, didn't he have cancer? Like he left for a long time, didn't he?
You are literally, I think you and Izzy are the only people from the old days. Okay,
Kraut, can I ask you a question actually? Because you can speak to this better than anyone because I only have vague knowledge of German electoral politics. But like when they build coalitions to have the the German word is majority in the parliament. Like, when was the last time they did like a Jamaica coalition with the Green Party, right? Like, when would they like work these progressive or even like not Die Linke, like far left party?
There was one in the state. There was a Jamaica in the state before it. There was a Jamaica coalition in the state.
And like some of these people's policies are principally anti-liberal or at least fucking stupid to the degree of like, hey, let's dismantle every nuclear power plant. Let's institute like more communism. Like, but
the Greens are some of the most based liberals in Germany right now. Their entire foreign policy is basically burn Moscow to the ground. The most based libs there are.
Okay, I got the impression that the Green had a little bit of a more delusional lefty take, but again, I trust you more.
Some of them, but they're really like ever since the Russians invaded Ukraine, they've become very based as a party.
Okay,
fair enough. $10 from Dirty Deeds to say, if not soy, then why does it increase my testosterone? I don't know. Thank you for your $10. $2 from Patrick to say, subscribe to Kraut. I like the cut of his jib. Well, thanks for $2, and thank you for subbing to my guests. 5 gifted memberships from the same individual. Appreciated, sir. $10 from Das Vildanya. If Soyphil doesn't think Hasan isn't a big deal yet, fine. Best time to deal with him. It's better to deal with a problem early than let it grow too large. Do you want to respond to
that person's mistaken. Obviously, I think Hasan's a big deal. He's one of the biggest voices. He's constantly shitting on the Democrats. I don't think that we shouldn't address like the insane things that he says to try to tear them down. So,
$5 from Patrick to say, I'm voting for Mills in the primary, but I'm voting for Plattner if he's a nominee. Collins has been my senator since I was 3 years old. Thank you for the $5. $5 from Owlishness to say, doesn't Hasan just say anything for views? No matter how bad it gets, he can just up and leave to any country. His level of detachment fuels his words.
For now. I know some Polish people who are actually like, they're like, basically they plan to do like a dossier of sorts. They want to like, they know members of the Polish Senate and they want to investigate if there's a possibility that Hasan could be banned from traveling to the European Union because of his continuous Russian propagandizing. This guy shouldn't go on luxury holidays in fucking Italy anymore. If he praises an invasion of Europe, he shouldn't be fucking coming here. Fuck that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's an extreme step. It's an extreme step.
I don't know if I agree with that, buddy.
Genuinely annoying.
I think that's maybe a little too far.
I agree with that one. Fuck him. That sounds bad.
No, I think that's anti-liberal. I think
that's
we should. I understand you guys don't like Hasan. I don't like Hasan, but banning someone simply for having a different position than you do on a
being pro an invasion of your country and your continent and everything else, yeah, I think it's based.
No,
fuck him.
$5 from Patrick to say, do want to shout out Soypill's old video on the good people on both sides hoax. Great watch and level intellectual rigor. Really libs the real libs expect.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for the $5. $5 from Real Determinatus. Soypill. These people are bad for us long term. The more we tolerate them, the more we are conflated, and the more votes we will lose. And
I don't disagree with their long term. Again, this is what I was trying to get into Ask Wick, and it's like there are certain cases where you can show me it's like associating with these people is absolutely more harmful than not, and I would 100% agree. I just don't know if that's always the case, and I don't know to what extent I should use their help if they are materially helping something that I agree with. That's
so
all
just to respond to that real quick, like I don't have I'll just grant you that in certain cases it might turn out well, it might turn out positively. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't perfectly predict the future, but I know that in 9 out of 10 cases it's going to hurt us. So just because there's a 1 out of 10 because this has always happened before. Like I can put to the last few elections where I think we have done less good than we should have because we've appealed to these people, and I think I can.
But isn't part of the problem we didn't just appeal to them? We tried to pretend that we were like them, like we adopted their ideas.
No. You got the cart before the horse there. They like took on our labels, right? Like the label progressive, right? If you'd asked me 5, maybe 10 years ago, like, hey, Wick, are you a progressive? I would have been more likely to say yes. But since people like Hasan have absconded that label and have worn that label, even though they are not progressive, they are something else entirely. But they are seen as progressive. They say they're progressive. They act like they act like they are the progressive movement. I think that word has become like a cancer, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but in many ways, we also adopted a lot of their language. Like, I think a lot of Democrats, for example, got extremely woke in their language and got extremely concerned with much more like intersectional stuff that wasn't really part of the liberal brand because it like felt good and they could like wear capes and be like, I'm actually, for the people too, guys. Look at me. I'm I'm a revolutionary. And I think that it was really damaging. Like, for example, there's this question of essentially like if you view this as like armies, is there an army that we can work alongside while fully recognizing the entire time that we will be diametrically opposed on a certain number of areas, despite the fact that we might be unified by a common enemy like right now?
I didn't want to bring it up because it's brain dead and not analogous, but that's literally what we did in World War II. It's like, yeah, as soon as this war's over, we're going to fight to the death with these people, but if we don't, then we're going to lose. But this is not analogous to today because it's not.
Why would you use this sort of? Why would you view politics of war? The purpose of politics is not to be war.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's analogous to align like incentive structures. Like, how do you mobilize people with aligned incentive structures while acknowledging? I think the issue that we've had with like the left from 2016 to 2022 is that standard libs and Democrats pretended that they were much more like the MLs. They took on a lot of the language and had some others robbed, right? But they in many ways didn't go, actually, we're not quite like these people. Like you guys can fuck with us if you're for like helping us like further like get rid of like antitrust policies. But we're not going to fuck with you if you're like trying to just like fixate on like let's say extreme like non-binary gender absolutionism or any of this stuff. Like, we're not really vibing with that shit. And I think that we sold out in that way. But the question is, can you at some times work with socialists who you understand you are disaligned with and not lose all of your values and principles in the first place?
Yeah, but the problem with that, as I was saying, like you're exactly correct. One of the problems that liberals and just the left in general has had is we feel a knee-jerk response to defend crazy people takes because they're on our side, right? We will see someone getting called out by libs of TikTok or something, and they'll say, look at this liberal doing X, Y, and Z. Aren't they crazy? And because people see, well, hey, that guy's on my team, I have to defend him now. They'll do this weird thing where they defend things that they should just not. And it's in that way, it gets mixed into kind of like what a liberal is in a way that hurts us. Does that make sense?
In the way that moderates are like, oh, I don't want to fuck with that shit.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Most liberals aren't like this, right? Like, so this is to the point of, is there a way that liberals can stand on their own? And as we're like building this up, there are certain people that were socialist coded that we might need to work with that fundamentally will actually align with us. That's like the tactical question exclusively.
Okay.
Right? Are they sabotagers? Some of them will inevitably be, but some of them might just be like converts that we don't
like
realize.
I said, I do stand by my 9 out of 10 rule, right? Like, and I think that yes, you're right in certain cases, but 9 out of 10 times it's just going to be worse for us and it's going to hurt us, so we shouldn't. $5 from Das.
I don't know if that's true though, right? Like, Lauren, somebody in your, speaking of a super chat, just to give the super chat some money, somebody brought up Lauren P. So Lauren P has worked a little bit with Unfuck, but she's not part of Unfuck. She's leftist coded, right? And she says that she's a leftist, but she's definitely a type of person that I wouldn't be surprised that if liberals were just a little bit more socially cool and a little bit like bigger in like the rhetoric game, that she would just basically be a liberal, right? I think that she broadly is gonna appeal to what she views as what the left dominantly holds. These are the type of people I'm worried that we would like chase away.
I don't know how to like what liberally socially cool means. Are we just not cool enough? I guess I don't know.
Liberals? No, I wouldn't say liberals are very cool. No.
Fair enough.
I think
Republicans party harder than liberals.
Look, I'm not the expert on what cool is or not, right? But I'm just talking like I guess I just fundamentally don't understand that mindset of someone who just wants to be cool and will go along with that crowd. I understand it exists. It's just something I don't. I'm not.
Oh, I understand it. It's on the internet all the time. Yeah.
$5 from Das Vidania to say the Republicans made that deal with MAGA that Soypil is saying when he says he'd work with Hasan to further his own aims.
No, they didn't. They actively opposed them, and then MAGA won in the primary and then took over the party. It wasn't like, oh, we'll work with you. They were adamantly anti-MAGA.
They immediately started working with
won. Yeah, they won the primary, and it's like, well, okay, we're not going to like tank our whole election because Donald Trump is our candidate now. Like that's a different story. If Hasan is like promoting fucking tankies in the primary, like, yeah, we need to fight back. And at that point, if he fucking wins the Democratic primary, if people like that win, I think we're fucked, just like MAGA's fucked.
€5 from T-Jill to Soypil. How many times was Ukraine mentioned on the No Forever Wars panel?
Not enough, Dylan, which is why I really appreciate that Dylan was there and didn't completely write it off just because Hasan fucking tried to dox him and send his mob after him. My
worry is how they will be using Dylan. I fear that they brought him on to... I think they they may be
He's a
trying to turn him into a token, but I know that he won't be willing to be used in such a way, at least from what I know him to be like. So yeah, they might be disappointed. I wouldn't be surprised if they purge him in a few months, maybe even weeks.
I would bet that they wouldn't, but if I'm wrong, rub it in my face when it happens.
Fair enough.
Oh, I don't do that.
$10 from the
I was
Chatterbox.
told by Attitude.
You're so
to
German.
be
I love
more
how German you are. Like,
comforting
it
to
is
you,
simply a
to
matter
be
of
more
fact. I do not have to
comforting.
tell you twice. Like,
The Chatterbox for $10 says, speaking as someone who loathes Hasan's entire sphere of orbiters as a far lefty, I appreciate Mike from PA being the thumbnail for this stream. I've never fallen out with a lefty influencer harder. I think we can all agree. Fuck that guy. I hate him. So anyway.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
$5 from Lost Coyote. If your ideology requires you to kill all the bad people to achieve utopia, it's probably bad.
Just once. Just one little purge, all right?
One purge. $5 from Chatterbox. Question for Destiny. Is there room in a lefty coalition for good faith actors on the far left? Yes, we exist, like I try to be, or are we all awash?
It just depends on how ardently they support the candidate in the general.
Fair enough. £5 from Riz, what the fuck, says, is the anti-Semitism prevalent among the lefty tanky folks not disqualifying on its own? How could reasonable Democrats ever work with them?
Sorry, Jews, you guys lost. You're a lost cause. You should have got a better handle on Israel. Now we throw you to the fire as we try to save our country. Good luck.
It is something
we
where,
survived the fires in the 40s. We'll do it again, all right?
There was
Can't get rid of this.
there was an article written recently that I responded to because it was just horrific. It was like horrifically anti-Semitic. It was talking about how the title of the article was "Yes, All Jews." Okay, so just to give you an idea.
Was it in German?
No, it was not in German.
Sounds
but it basically
Yeah.
it was a purportedly a Jewish author and a Jewish anti-Zionist who just basically said that the Jews are entirely responsible, that her people as a whole were responsible, not just the ones in Israel, but all Jewish institutions everywhere. It was horrific, and that in order to be anti-Zionist, you couldn't just hate Israel. You have to cheer on Hamas for the miracle of October 7th. Just the most.
Christ.
This is essentially Hasan's position, but there's nobody that will call it out. So it's that's just a fight that I don't give a fuck about anymore.
I think he's a little more careful about how he talks about Jews.
But that's
barely.
So I criticize this, right, in a tweet. I quote tweet it and I criticize it. And I have people in my mentions saying, no, that's just anti-Zionism. That's not anti-Semitism.
Then the article's titled "Yes, All Jews."
Yes, that's exactly. And so,
are you calling me a Nazi
point,
just because I'm wearing the swastika?
The left, this far left especially, a vast majority of them would have fallen to this anti-Semitism. And I think if we care about anti-Semitism, and I do, that's one more reason, even if it might be politically effective in the short term. No.
All right, all you guys saying that they're lying about Hasan's position. Destiny's lying. No, this is, guys, if you believe Hasan isn't like vehemently pro-Hamas, he literally supports Hezbollah and fucking like terrorism. Like, come on, guys. Like, absolutely do not pretend like that is not Hasan's position. I've seen the clips. If you agree with that shit, I don't think you should be in this space because I don't like you. If you're like super pro, you can be pro-resistance to certain types of things. But if you're pro-terrorist like activity, it's fucking insane.
I am curious the answer.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Would you say that? Do you think Hasan Piker, is it fair to say that his rhetoric has crossed the threshold into like pretty big anti-Semitism?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, there we go.
Steven, rip. Okay, wait. Hasan Piker or Mitt Romney? Who are you voting for?
No, me? Mitt Romney.
Good answer. Okay,
yeah.
$5 from
Hey,
Romney.
look, he invented Obamacare to an extent, you know? Just another black creator trying to steal from us whites again.
Sweeper is in the getting L's in chat right now.
True.
They're getting
$5 from
mobbed.
Rodman for the two Canadians.
Wait, how does that? If you think Hasan's rhetoric is expressly anti-Semitic, then even further, how do you justify working with him?
Because the degree to which he perpetuates it is masked enough that I don't think it's the same type of shit that Nick Fuentes is doing. Even it's fucking horrible. It's like, all right, you can like every time you call him out for this anti-Semitism, there's a reason why his audience and anyone who is a useful idiot will come in and be like, well, actually, I think he's just being a little, anti-Israel here. And don't get me wrong, this still spreads like actual real anti-Semitism, I'm sure, to like the same kind of shit you see that Wick was just talking about. It's like, yes, all Jews.
My initial prediction.
I'm
going to take them in that one.
Oh, what?
I'm going to take them in that one.
Because I literally, because I can say this is, because I'm like, this is bad, but it's less harmful than explicit anti-Semitism. It's more masked. Like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, it's just not as bad.
So I don't even know if Hasan is masking. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I tune into that motherfucker's
do you
stream,
think the anti-Semitism that Hasan does, which he absolutely does, and I'm acknowledging that, is just as bad as Nick Fuentes'?
It's worse.
It's worse.
No, what? No, Nick Fuentes is like, Jews control the world and we need to kill them all. This is, what are you talking about? It's so obviously not the same.
I've never heard, if you can find that, I've never heard Fuentes say that we should kill them all.
Jews, literally, go to the fucking, go to the speech where he's got the big screen behind him and he's talking about we need to like go to war with the Jewish people. Like, what are you talking about?
You understand why it's worse. Even if Fuentes did say that. What Hasan is doing is worse because it's normalizing it and masking it, and it's much more.
No,
insidious.
if you think that Nick Fuentes Nick Fuentes' audience is no, please, Wick, no, this is insane. If you think that the people in Hasan's audience, even the explicitly anti-Semitic ones, no, answer my question, Wick, please. This is so stupid. I just wish they
would just come out with
this is so stupid.
Much better if they just called me the N-word.
No, that's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Because do you think that Hasan's audience and like per capita is going to be more pro-Holocausting the Jews than Nick Fuentes' audience?
No, I think
no. One of these things is so much worse. I don't care that they're both bad. This is so stupid.
Holocausting it because for the neo-Nazi position is and has been Jews control all of our country. We want all the Jews out. They are in charge of things like Great Replacement, et cetera, et cetera. But neo-Nazis would never follow Jews to Israel. Hasan advocates for a project of the destruction of the state of Israel. He would support military action to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure Hasan would say nuking Israel is base. This is terrible. He's fucking anti-Semitic. I'm not saying he's good. I'm saying one of these things is so much fucking worse.
Go ahead, Kraut.
I don't know.
I do genuinely believe that a substantial amount of Hasan's audience are just, they would believe anything that he tells them. That like if he told them that the sky is yellow, they would believe it or something like that. I think a lot of his audience are also just lonely, horny housewives, if that makes sense. Like, it's debatable to what extent.
This is so ridiculous. Look, okay, if Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi who says Jews have no place in civilization, and you're comparing this to Hasan, who is anti-Semitic, who is conflating Israel and Judaism, and is saying a bunch of horrible shit, and saying these things are worse than what Nick Fuentes is saying, I don't know what fucking reality we live in. This is so much obviously worse.
I don't know why I have to grade it, though.
We don't. They're both bad, but like...
Hasan's the neo-Nazi anti-Semitism doesn't extend past the borders of your country. It's because Jews are interested in destroying whatever the fabric of your country through mass migration or whatever else. But Hasan's anti-Semitism comes from an anti-Western, anti-imperialist place that would follow them to the Middle East, where he would want them to be removed from Israel. That's why you're never going to hear from a neo-Nazi like go back to Brooklyn or whatever else, right? If anything, neo-Nazis would be happy if every Jew fucked off to Israel. Whereas Hasan wants the country of Israel to be destroyed. They think that they literally say
neo-Nazis are also anti-Israel.
No, they're anti-America working with Israel.
No, you're thinking of like Christian nationalists that are specifically looking at this, but they're neo-Nazis fucking hate Israel. Like, what are you talking about?
Neo-Nazis when you say anti-Israel, Israel, insofar as they exert influence over the United States or force the U.S. to get involved with wars. That's why they say like America first, not Israel first, because Israel's making us go to war with Iran.
But they also want to kill all the Jews because of that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Well, why does that matter if they're like, well, they want if the Jews left them alone, yeah, but they think that the Jews control everything and are evil. Like, what is this distinction?
If we're not drawing a distinction there, then there's even less of a distinction between Hasan's perspective, which is that Zionism is inherently like what did he say on CNN? An ethno-religious supremacist nationalist project. Like, and 90% of Jews are Zionists, so he would call for basically the elimination of 90% of Jewish people. Like, what did he say before? What was it, 2 days ago? He said they should all go back to the Russian Oblast for Jews, like way off in the east. Like,
I don't know. Show me it. I'll grade it. I'll grade it next to the Jews don't belong in Western civilization, and maybe they are evil.
This is why you can't make these gambles, right? So the statement that I just said, right? So Soy People's chat literally agrees with this, right? How is that wrong? That's true, right? So your chat even agrees with these.
What are they agreeing with? What are you agreeing with?
Zionism is an ethno-supremacist, religious supremacist project, and that
isn't Zionism ethno-supremacist?
No, it's not. Only if your understanding of that is a child's notion.
Well,
Of
you've read a
somebody
lot
having
more on
country
Israel than
that's
I
relatively
have, so I can't
supremacist.
say, but it
Well, no,
seems to
how
me
is it
that
saying it's not saying it's a supremacist is by ethnically protecting a country? Is it has to be an ethnically supremacist position? That
if
you
you're
can't cash that out
an
in one
ethno
sentence.
state that purges all non-Jews out of your area and then treats them differently within your society, I would say that's kind of ethno supremacist, yeah.
No, ethno-supremacist is different than protecting the ethnicity of a country.
But yeah, but
right?
in protecting it, you're expelling another peoples, and your explicit mission is to like get all the Gazans out of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. This is ethno supremacist and religion supremacist.
If that, I can't. If that's your perspective, then that's fine.
Well, tell me why it's not. I mean, that's how it sounds to me.
I told you, it's not about one religion dominating another. It's about people feeling like they want to protect the ethnic group in their country.
Like
yeah, but this is like, oh yeah, they don't want to expel black people. They just want to protect the white population, right? Like you can phrase it that way, but like it seems to me that this is
but white nationalists do
prioritizing.
want to expel black people.
That doesn't make sense. You
white
don't have to-
supremacists
Yeah,
do want to
and Zionists want to expel the Gazans and the Palestinians, right? Like that's
But
kind
even
of their
so,
whole
you don't
mission.
you don't have to expel black people in the United States. There's no reason for that. They're not a threat to the white people, so it wouldn't make sense in that sense. Whereas for the Middle East, Jewish people are a huge minority in the Middle East, so there's a different rationale.
Yeah, but now you're justifying it, but that doesn't mean it's not true.
I'm just saying that the desire to protect the ethnicity comes from a different place than ethno-supremacy. It comes from a place of there's an ethnicity that a country wants to protect.
This is a distinction without a difference in me. If you're having a pro-ethno fucking position and expelling a bunch of people that are not of your ethnicity because, it's not because I'm better than them. It's because they're dangerous to me. Like, black people commit too much crime. That's the only reason I want to get them out, guys. Like, that's what it sounds like.
If there was ethnic Jews in Israel, but those ethnic Jews all flipped against Israel and were also like working with terrorist groups to attack Israeli civilians, do you think Israel would want them out in the same way that they want like Hamas out?
I don't think that disproves what we're saying.
Well, potentially in this case, right? They might be willing to like.
They'd be
try
like,
to barter something.
in the same way a neo-Nazi would be like, you're a traitorous white that's willing to work
attacking
with the
them away.
minorities, and you've betrayed your country and your peoples. Like, yeah, but I don't think that means they're not ethno-supremacists. Like, this is a very
we can have this Israel debate another day. $5.
Well, you have to establish that Jews think that they're better, not that they're like worried about like safetyism.
For
right?
the
which they
Canadians
do in Israel.
So this
by
is
definition, Judaism is not like it's not a proselytizing religion. They don't even try to convert people into their fucking shit or whatever. Like,
what the fuck, dude? What do you think birthright is? That's what they're constantly trying to do this shit.
They're not trying to convert people to Judaism.
Literally exactly not that. Birthright is
they want them to come in and they try to make them more culturally Jewish and more religiously Jewish.
What do you think? What does the birth part in birthright stand for?
Yeah, I know that they're already Jewish by blood, but they want them to become more religious. That's like, dude, come on, like you're Jew-splaining to me. This is what they fucking do. Yeah, not just join the country. They want to indoctrinate them into the culture and the fucking religion. They do this all the time.
This is a leftist
they literally
talking point.
No, dude, Destiny, please, no, Destiny. Look, I'm literally Jewish. They literally do this. They pay people to go to synagogue in Israel and even here because they want them to become part of this Jewish cultural movement. This is just a thing. I'm not even saying this is a bad thing, but the idea that they're not promoting their religion is ridiculous. Of course they do this.
The point of birthright is to bring Jews back to Israel so that they can show up their demographic majority so that they can absorb more Arabs that they have.
Yes,
it is.
I'm not disagreeing with this. This is not an either or. This is not either or. But they do that. They promote this as well as part of birthright. They literally promote religious teachings.
Okay.
This is just true. I don't know why you're arguing with this.
Hold on. You guys can debate this another day. $5 from Gronman for the two Canadians. So this is to Dev and to Erudite. Who do you think is more extreme, Hasan or Avi Lewis, the new head of the federal NDP, in terms of policy and how they act?
I don't know anything about Avi Lewis. I know that he's fighting with the Alberta people, but I don't know anything about Avi Lewis, frankly. I can't answer this, sorry. I care about Canadian politics.
Well, to be honest, the NDP is just fucking irrelevant. Hasan is probably more irrelevant than anything happening with the NDP in total.
Yeah, he's probably a bigger existential threat to democracy than Avi. I would assume. I don't know who I don't know anything about Avi.
€2 from Avi from Saxon to say Avi Lewis for the wind. Lex loves Wick ? I don't know if he does anymore, but. $5 from Real Determinatus to say soy pill. It is unironically better for you to sit on that money or donate directly to candidates than give it to PV. Hell, invest it. Anything but PV.
I'm not talking about like money. First of all, I do not have the money to like change elections. I'll donate like $20 to a candidate that I like. What I'm talking about is like, hey, a bunch of my audience is like, what do we do? What do we do? We're looking to you. And so when I see Destiny or Vosh do this shit where it's like, let's get all of you guys out here and try to flip this fucking seat that matters is going to help us get the Senate majority. I want to do that. And Apparently, there are other orgs that are not PV that are doing that, so I'll hop on them if they're the ones who aren't working with Hasan. So,
okay, $20 from Oda Shara to say, Soy Pill, which group of creators in these political projects would do more advocacy for the Democrats in general? Progressive Victory or Digital Ground Game?
Sounds like Digital Ground Game, yeah.
Okay. $5 from Audacity, say, all good points, but how does this ensure we give Israel another $578 bazillion, dudes?
True.
$10 from Oda Shara. Quote, who cares if they whine and moan, end quote. You should care. The type of rhetoric will create either unenthusiastic voters or moron third-party voters. There needs to be enthusiastic support for Democrats. I think we all agree there. $5 from Audacity says, I feel like I'm watching the dudes who don't shower accuse the dudes who don't wear deodorant of sneaking up the joint. And then $5 more from Audacity say, Hannibal wins though, Wick.
Thank you, The Dryan, and you're welcome.
$20 from Metalworks. After watching the mini convo FD Signifier has had with Sitch and Adam and watched vids of his basically promoting black socialist movements and associating assimilation in the U.S. to promoting whiteness, I don't think he's with us.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
$5 from Ovi. Erudite, what is working is exactly what Steven is doing with Adam Kissinger. We need the left to fight against evil.
What is he doing with Adam Kissinger? I don't know.
I don't know, but he just owned you. That guy just owned you for sure.
Yeah, because he's against me, even though we're
Yep.
basically
Yep.
aligned. Even though we're basically aligned.
It
Yeah.
is, don't know called out your name, so you are owned.
$5
be all for me.
$5 from Straight Shot to say, liberals cede Israel, Tankies cede communal property. What the fuck are you talking about? This is an easy win. So I guess if we liberals give up Israel, then they'll give up communal property?
Israel was promised to liberals 3,000 years ago. We're not giving it up.
I don't know. $10 from Natirius Stoa. I live in Los Angeles, and none of us normies think Newsom is a genocider. Most of the normies I know like him because he's standing up to Trump. That seems like a bigger factor to me.
Yep.
I guess this is reference to the enemy Charlie thing that you were saying earlier.
Sure. It's just like there just is a lot of like socialist. I don't even want to speak for Nyman and enemy Charlie because I don't know their exact specific positions. I don't know if they've ever talked about Gavin Newsom. They're just like I don't know. Just in LA, there are just a lot of these types of socialite people that are like socialist, Sampradine socialist types that can easily be moved in one direction or the other based on.
Charlie took a smiling photo with Newsom.
Gavin Newsom is based,
she's on board.
I'm going to call cap on that tweet because every single person I knew in California fucking hated Gavin Newsom. So I'm calling super mega cap on that tweet.
Fair enough. But I don't know anyone in California.
I was going to say, all the LA people I know hate Gavin Newsom, but maybe I just know a select crew of LA people.
Gavin gets a lot of shit for his like homeless policies and his inefficiency, but like he's, he did the fight on 50.
So if there's anything you don't like,
okay,
I'm
gonna
project all of California's bad stuff onto him too. So
yeah, I'm gonna speed through these so we can get back to the discussion. $5 from Mr. Gene. Middle ground probably is going to move away from genocidal, power-hungry people. That's just as bad as Republicans. $5 from Vishy. 1, I am getting wings for dinner. 2, my line is if that ContraPoint's critiquing power quote applies to a creator, they're out of the coalition. And 3, hi.
That one quote destroyed like the leftist movement forever. It's they don't want power, really they just want to endlessly critique power, which is usually true.
It was a good.
Yeah,
it's a slight modification
a lot of leftists that agree with that we definitely don't want in the coalition.
Fair. But
a lot of leftists also like to hate leftists. So
it's a slight modification of they say firebomb a Walmart, but then don't.
Yeah, well, that was the kill shot tweet to their entire ideology. Okay, $5 from Tauntaun. Dev, I sent you an email about a commission. Please respond. Okay, you guys can do that.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
$10 from Kid H. Regarding unsophisticated LA leftists, if you're convinced they can be won over, then win them over. Only then consider events with them. Regardless, your time would likely be better spent elsewhere.
I could get Charlie on board in 10 seconds, so it's not a time investment.
It's just not a zero-sum game. It's like you can obviously just do both things. You can try to bolster liberal voices and invite like LA socialites to liberal events and collab with them. Like it's just obvious that you could do both of these things. It's just obviously if I'm interfacing with somebody who is further and further left, my collabs with them are going to be increasingly caustic because we disagree about everything.
Okay, $10 from Dirty Deeds to say the answer is always very simple. Ask yourself if X creator explains a worldview and you are willing to fight and die to prevent what they want, they are not your friend. $10 from Niman Abedi. When is unfuck America Fuck on America. When is Unfuck America going to make college chapters to challenge the Kirkjugended and YDSA losers?
They already are. I'm pretty sure, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're trying to make college chapters.
These
Yeah, I
people are
think that's
far
what
more
the-
effective in organizing the groups than anything that left-wing or liberal people do, to be honest. Like Dev and I probably remember some of the shit. Like they're far more tighter organized in terms of like the groups they do. And it's literally like orders that people follow.
Well, yeah, you guys used to be part of like that kind of like scene, if you will. What did they do that liberals don't?
From what I remember, we
From
had
an
a chat
organizational
group.
perspective, yes.
We had a chat group, and when something happened, we all basically came together to have our talking points that we would use prepared and ready.
Yep.
Marching orders, out we go.
Fair enough. $10 from Ben
There's like
Riley.
20 of us in there, I think, at the height of it.
I mean, if they get kicked out of the party, they may not vote for Dems. Also, progressivism developed as a critique of liberalism in the 1900s with people like Teddy Roosevelt. And finally, $10 from the Shaggy Horse. Liberals have no motion right now. You guys are so culturally stagnant, stuck in millennial sadness. Culture has left you guys so badly, and instead of trying to improve, you guys lash out. Not cool.
Gotta say, Gen Z's culture is just stealing millennial culture and thinking it's theirs. Like the amount of like emo and punk, it's just true. Just look at the major social cultural movements of like fad and trends that Gen Z has made. Baggy pants.
I don't know.
I don't know,
Millennials are more
but
heckin'
they love
chonkerino.
millennial shit. They love
kinda-
millennial shit.
You missed a bunch, Wick, because there was one I wanted to answer.
Oh, which one did I
Damn.
miss?
There was one that was
Hold on, is
directed
this
to
Doug?
Erudite.
Hold on.
It was directed to Erudite and I.
Let me see.
Wasn't it the Avi one? There was one to
Nope.
me and you. It was about. Oh, okay. What was
It's a
it?
different one.
Do you remember it?
It was something about Trump being more corrupt than Trudeau, or vice versa.
Hold
Oh,
on,
yeah,
I'm looking.
duh.
I missed a couple. Yeah. $5 from Ove again to say anyone that likes One Piece and yells "but the genocide" every day to be excluded from the movement. Okay. $5 from Straight Shot. Can any of the panelists name an anti-Zionist that also happens to be a liberal?
Tony Judd.
I'm kind of an anti-Zionist, I think, but
Oh, wait.
it sounds like that's like a poison word now. Maybe I don't fully understand it.
Well, what
but...
does like? I don't like anti-Zionist is a mask word in a lot of ways.
Well,
And,
Tony Judd was, sorry to correct myself. Tony Judd was more of a social democrat, but he was anti-Zionist, democratic liberal wing, I guess. I mean, you could take the position that nationalism is bad, and in particular the European liberal position that nationality should become a choice, that what nationality you are should be as simple as learning a language. And from that perspective, you can make an anti-Zionist liberal case, definitely. Yeah.
Boo Woomer says for $5, are liberals able to assert that people who immigrate to Western countries should assimilate to the culture of said country, language, beliefs, etc.?
Yes, I think
preferable.
So. To some level, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's just
For,
like
for all the
what
ones that
everyone
don't, their
means when they
kids
say
inevitably
assimilate
do.
is what a like a MAGA groiper means when they say assimilate, and what a like a left liberal means when they say assimilate is just like obviously not the same thing. So you're gonna
And on that, I have more in common with an illegal immigrant who doesn't speak English but came to California than I do with a fucking MAGA groiper in like Tennessee. So like, it depends on what level of assimilation we're looking for.
Fair. $5 from Ove. Can we get a collab and get Lauren Peretra and Montemadre? I have faith that Kyla can bring them on our side. I don't know those people.
Lauren P is the unfuck girl that I was talking about before.
Okay,
That's kind of like LA kind of, yeah.
I don't know who Montemadre is.
Not sure. Not familiar.
$5 from Granite Hard. Erudite keeps conflating any interaction with working with a creator on a political project. We interact with leftists by disagreeing with them.
That I don't believe I've ever conflated these two things, but good luck to you in watching content.
Chavakia for $5. Question to the entire panel. Do we all agree that the critique the far left makes against Gavin is bullshit and should be ignored regarding trans stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
sure.
he's
I'm not sure. I
explicitly
don't know.
pro-trans in like several different ways and passed a bunch of pro-trans legislation. It was literally like ahead of the curve on LGBT issues than any other person in California. For not any other person, but for the most politicians. And the idea that it's like, oh yeah, but he'll throw trans people under the bus because he said the sports thing.
Is this because he went on a podcast with
he said trans women shouldn't be in sports? I'm pretty sure, which is like true. Obviously.
I don't even know if he said that. He said like there are questions of fairness.
Hold on, this is a good example of why appealing to leftists is just a fool's errand, because as soon as you say something that's off script, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past.
Respectfully,
you're done.
Could you point to the person in this call that wants to appeal to leftists?
I'm saying it to the audience who, in my chat, there are plenty of people who are disagreeing with me. Okay,
sure.
Yeah, no, I had a recent dust up with a very big left-wing VTuber named Niara, who basically said the same thing. Because I'm not pro-trans women and women's sports, I was the same as someone who was far-right and wanted her detrans. And I'm like, this is fucking insane. This is the most retarded conversation I've ever had.
It was just like weirdly like privileged. Like it's just like it's either privileged or you're lying. Like you don't actually obviously mean that. Them. If you think about it for like 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
$5 from Fancy Teeth. Why is this so hard? These people are saboteurs. Why are we helping them? True. $5 from Real Determinatus.
Wait, pause on that one. Wick, so like, if anyone's asking me like, hey, should we like capitulate to like a Hasan point, or like, should we prop up Hasan's movement? The answer is obviously fucking no, because I think it's insane and terrible and harmful, and there are saboteurs. The question is, should we let them help us if we think that would benefit us more? Not, are we propping them up?
Yes.
In what?
Correct. This is the question. This is the practical question.
Will we work with them on our things? Would we let them help us? Like I said, if they are willing to come and work with us, I think that's a different question than if they get together a political movement and say, we want liberal creators to come out and help us with this. I think those are two separate questions. Does that make sense?
Okay. Probably in part depends on what they want help with. Like, if what they want help with,
these are fact-based
like
conditions.
Yeah,
like I'd have to
it's
see.
always going to be policy. It's always going to be the question of like, well, what are we doing?
But
right, if you want me to support your like super leftist candidate, no. If you want me to support a Democrat against a Republican every single time, yes, of course.
But the rule of thumb here still stands for me is that 9 times out of 10,
you keep saying
it's going
this,
to go badly for
I'm gonna source somehow. Like,
what do you mean? I don't really understand
because
that.
You being seen working with these people is going to be so cancerous. It's like they have a stench, and that's going to rub off on you. And
really?
You have to take
I
that
feel like
into
moderates are so much more like, they're just like less animal-like as an audience. Like, I feel like if I spent a lot of time with progressives, and like leftists, but I'm like sufficiently pushing back more or less on all the things that we disagree on or whatever, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, I mean, I like that Kyla girl, but like, she talks to FD Signifier. I think as long as it's like, yeah, I mean, I disagree with FD Signifier on a significant enough things, right? The real question is, do we help them in like political campaigning in areas where they're like robbing and stealing us of our culture? And do we let them take our language? And more importantly, do we take on their language? And the answer obviously has to be no. Liberals should have a backbone and a culture and a community and stand by it and defend one another and protect each other and support each other and blah, 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 blah.
I don't think so. I think a lot of moderates are turned off when we work with leftists and things like that. I think that a lot of them will just abandon us if they do that. And that
really, I feel like they'll abandon us if we say,
I don't know, but that
they'll abandon us if we say gender doesn't exist and we should abolish gender. But I don't think they'd abandon us if we.
And that's capitulating to a leftist narrative. That's not working with a leftist. And to be fair, if you're leaving my movement because I'm working with someone who I don't agree with, who says I'm supporting you, then you don't support my movement, and you should.
I'm not even sure about that. Like I've embraced like the pronoun thing entirely on my channel, in my community.
Not even in your name.
I don't see liberals. I don't. Well, yeah, I have.
Okay, I'm not talking liberal. Okay,
but it's like I've completely adopted that because there are a significant number of what is the word, genderqueer and trans people in my community, and to make them more comfortable, I said, yeah, fine, I'll adopt this for you. I didn't see all the liberals running away. It's like such a minor fucking thing.
Moderates and liberals are two separate groups to me.
Yeah.
I
think that there's some
conceding to
overlap,
that thing, people didn't run away.
They're kind of all under the same Like a liberal could, depending on how you're defining it, could extend all the way to like neocons.
Wait, I'm going to be aggro now. Wick. I need to ask Wick. To what degree are you willing to work with people who will drop your entire movement because of some stupid lefty cultural bullshit? Tolly, for example, where it's like, oh, you're going to vote for fucking Trump because you got annoyed by the wokes, like. This is also someone where it's like, okay, you clearly don't give a shit about these like movements. You don't give a shit about liberalism.
Yes, and I don't think I'd invite. I would if Tali invited. Like, I wouldn't work with her on like a political project to
like a podcast that you host about politics.
But I would have her on my show.
Wait. I just want to say real quick. Wait. Because Soy Pill you're very good at like you speak very honestly without realizing how honest you're being. Every single time you were challenging my position earlier, you kept saying like somebody that was like slightly critical or somebody like, oh, I guess Hasan does some bad things. Like your words are very like couched. But for here, you actually just restated my position perfectly, in which I could have answered you perfectly. You said, would you work with Talia or whatever? This is that one. Is she that Jew girl who hates trans people?
Yes.
You said, would you work with her if she wasn't willing to support your candidate? No, that was so easy. But you perfectly, with absolute clarity, stated my position there. It's interesting that you could state it so clearly there with regards to her, but seem to obfuscate or soften the language when it ever had to do with anybody left. That was
and if Tali is willing to raise money for my candidate, if Tali is willing to promote a candidate that I support, then I would work with her. That's the point. So the instant Hasan, who's clearly indicated he won't support someone in the general, is not someone you work with. But if he's willing to,
yes, if we mean work with, as in put together like a coalition, right? To kind of like,
obviously that's what everyone means. Obviously,
yeah. So Bill, also to your earlier thing, the pronouns in my bio are a joke.
I'm not actually shitting on you for it. It's fine.
No, like in you know who Viktor Orban is, right? The Prime Minister of Hungary, the right-wing one. So he frequently goes to CPAC in the US, and there he gives speeches in English where he tells you Americans that he saved Hungary from gender pronouns. Hungarian is a gender-neutral language. There are no gender pronouns in Hungarian. That's the joke. There's only the pronouns That's it. Like it's literally a grift. He's saving Hungary from something that doesn't exist. So that's why when you find Hungarian libs and left-wingers on social media, they often put the pronouns in their bio to make fun of that fact, because he would never give that speech in Hungarian because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
that's basically that.
Here's the one that you wanted to answer. I found it, Mr. Dev. This is from Shuo. Kyla once implied Trudeau was as bad as Trump and equally corrupt.
No, I didn't.
As Canadians, do you, Dev and Kyla, both believe that? Would they have voted Trudeau over PP?
So would I have voted for Trump over Trudeau?
Over PP.
Of course not. I mean, one of the benefits of Canada
was the Conservative leader, actually.
Okay.
No, obviously not.
Fair enough.
What the fuck?
Well, see, Trudeau's was really fucking corrupt, though. Trudeau was not a great.
Thank you. Every American that gets so twisted about one joke that I made to an ailing old man, which is I love black people. What's his name?
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Jesse, yeah. Is so obnoxious because every Canadian will tell you Trudeau is super, super corrupt. A lot of Canadians don't like Trudeau. Typically, I voted NDP actually, so you're welcome.
Yeah, there was a lot of
the last guy I voted for.
There were several high-profile scandals in Canada. There was the We Charity scandal, the SNC-Lavalin scandal.
SNC was huge.
Yes. Oh my god.
Fucking mind-blowing, huge.
Canadians.
Which is why when fucking Americans are like, I made one joke where I was like, oh man, it's tough between Trump and Trudeau. It's not actually Trump tough. Obviously, it's still Trudeau. But Trudeau sucks. That's the joke. Welcome to the joke. Trudeau sucks and Canadians don't like him.
What Trudeau did in the SNC-Lavalin scandal is Trump-like. And
It was horrifying. But nobody knows this. Nobody cares. Canada yapping.
And then also, it was a few months ago, I think, the Canadian Supreme Court ruled that the emergency powers Trudeau used during the trucker protest was unconstitutional. Like, Trudeau was a terrible prime minister.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that liberals in Canada are terrible, but he was just uniquely bad for the Liberal Party.
Fair enough.
He just had his reputation saved by Trump.
$2 from the One Hero HQ to say Wick is right. We should just prefer you to say it. Okay, well, thank you for that. I do appreciate you. $5 from Real Determinatus to say Soy Pill will unironically support the second worst person on a topic by virtue of them not being the number one worst person on a topic.
Support them? I think that's doing a lot of heavy lifting there for support.
$5 from Auto Shara to say soy pill, yes or no? Channeling
Yes.
his inner Pico.
Oh wait, is
if
there a
the
question?
Jews became the minority because all of Israel was taken over, do you think there would be a second Holocaust?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're surrounded by people that want to kill them.
Okay. Tectonic.
Wait, how can you be anti-Zionist? How does that make sense?
Because Zionism is like, well, Jews need a homeland, and it has to be in this specific place that's going to cause constant war and turmoil, and I don't know if I support that. I think that, yeah, there should be a place that Jews call their home, given the fact that they're kicked out of fucking everywhere, and there's anti-Semitism everywhere. But the idea that the only solution to this is to establish in this historical homeland that is never, ever going to be solved, it is constantly going to be having war, fought back and forth, and killing millions and millions of people, I just think is ridiculous. I think this is a stupid, religious, dogmatic argument. They should just spread out into other countries. I don't think you can just give them a fucking homeland.
But
I think it's just a ridiculous
the whole point
proposition.
of Zionism is that the diaspora is constantly genocided against, which is why they want this, right? Because
give them Manhattan Island, give them Brooklyn. Do a Native American a Native American thing. Give them a fucking reservation in America somewhere. I don't know. Like the idea that it has to be in Israel is just ridiculous.
As a case in point. Okay.
How is this a case in point? Of what? No, wait. Make him answer. You just accused me. A case in point of what?
I just want to hear you say you're advocating for the full ethnic cleansing of Jews from Israel, right?
No.
Just say yes.
No, because obviously this can't. No, because this can't work anyway. We're already in too deep at this point.
Just say it. Just say. By the way,
I don't want the full ethnic cleansing of Jews from Israel. I don't want the.
What I mean when I say leftists have a more anti-Semitic position than that would cash out into a more anti-Semitic position than neo-Nazis do. What do you mean you don't? You just said you want them to flee Israel and go to all other places on the planet. That's an ethnic cleansing.
Let me clarify. Obviously, this is not available now. They've been established there for 80 years. Okay, now I don't know what the fuck you do. It is if I could snap my fingers and teleport Israel, like lift it up like a big island and drop it next to fucking Manhattan, I would, and that would be ethnic cleansing. But they don't really need to travel into Libya and Egypt and all this shit. But like, no, I don't want to like expel them. I don't think we should kick them off their land. Obviously, there's too established. This is like saying like, yeah, I don't support the genocide and the expelling of Native Americans, but guess what? It's been fucking like 400 years. I don't know how you rectify this at that point. You need to find a way to like, I don't know how to fucking solve Israel-Palestine. But no, obviously what I mean is the project of Zionism to establish it in Israel and the way that they did this, I think was destructive as fuck. I think it's led to all these problems. I think they should have chosen something different at the time. And so the idea... What?
When you're saying anti-Zionist, as in you don't want them to be the majority in their country anymore, so then what is that?
Is that what anti-Zionism is? I'm not saying that they can't be the majority unless... being the majority in their country.
Zionism is where you have a Jewish majority in Israel because it's an ethno-protected majority. Yes,
if the way that you are establishing this ethnic majority is that you expel minorities and like steal their land and kill people, yeah, then I'm anti that.
So no, they've already done that.
They're still doing it.
Wait, because nobody ever has to answer this question on the level. They say they're anti-Zionist. I know why, but I'm just curious. Like, so what is the solution then? It's the massive cleansing of Jews from Israel.
Are you giving me a dichotomy between? First of all, the idea that I can solve Israel-Palestine is ridiculous because I'm fucking retarded. But second of all, you're asking me if you're asking me the dichotomy between what they're doing in the West Bank and Gaza and not doing that, I think there's probably a better thing to do. And just because I don't know exactly what they should do doesn't mean I'm anti-Jew or anti-fucking or I'm pro-ethnic cleansing.
This is why I hate that the whole leftist people have decided to purity test on this one issue because the position is totally untenable. No, I'm not saying you are, but all the other people that you listen to or that are on the far left that purity test on this position. Like when somebody says they're anti-Zionist, I just don't know what that means. What does it actually?
I'm anti-Israel's project of ethnically cleansing Gazans right now.
Okay. Just
are you?
Answer, I think was the most accurate.
Is that Zionism?
Just real quick, hold on. If
this seems to be in the name of Zionism.
Today, stopped in the West Bank, but still kept their ratios for how many ethnic Jews are in the country versus how many other ethnicities are in the country, you'd be okay with that?
How do they enforce their ethnic ratios?
By only letting in ethnic Jews and expelling if it goes above a certain amount. And
if I say I'm not okay with this, does that mean I'm pro-Israel being ethnically cleansed because there's a hypothetical by which the thing majority of brown people would
is that on a realistic level, that's what would happen.
Ethnic cleansing is necessarily bad. I think we should ethnically cleanse Turkish people from West Hollywood, personally. I don't think all ethnic cleansing is necessarily bad, but just like own the
Okay, wait. To be fair, like I know that was a meme, but do you actually like when is ethnic cleansing justified? Like Chinese Exclusion Act type stuff, or like we can only have this ratio of like this type of people from this country. Is it ever justified?
Never.
Probably is.
It's
but the thing
never.
is,
It's never
no, shut the fuck
justified.
up. The reason why it's hard to have this conversation as an American is because we get to take our ethnicity, our national identity for granted because we're never threatened by anybody because we have way too many fucking people. So it's not a question for us. But if we had countries to the north, if Canada had 10 billion people and Mexico had 30 billion people, we would be having questions about what the American ethnicity is and how we need to protect it all the time. But we don't. We just don't have them in immigrants.
But I wouldn't support that. I would say, look, if it turns out that we just get a bunch more Canadians and Mexicans and this transforms our country, then so be it.
Every single person just goes, I wouldn't care. Okay,
let's say that every
take
single
it.
person in Canada, every single person in Mexico was a Nazi, and we lived in the United States of America, and we had 300 million people. Let's say that 500 million Nazis from Canada wanted to immigrate into the United States. You would accept that unquestionably.
I wouldn't promote an ethnic cleansing. No, I wouldn't. And yeah, I think we have a far different problem if you have an ideology so pervasive that it's going to destroy your entire democracy and coming in like people. You're sounding like the fucking people talking about. No. You're talking like the people talking about. Okay, Muslims are coming into this country. Muslims want to destroy the democracy, so we should ethnically cleanse Muslims from Europe. Is that what you're supporting?
We don't have that many Muslims coming here. It's not
there's millions, but there's millions of them. There's tens of millions going to Germany.
Millions is nothing to us.
What about Germany? Should Germany ethnically cleanse Muslims? They're only a population of 80 million. Well, okay, but you said it's justified. It's 80 million people. There's 14 million Syrian refugees coming in, right?
It's such a worthless position. You can't even engage critically with the position.
What am I not engaging with?
If there were 10 billion Muslims to the north that wanted to destroy democracy in America and 500 million wanted to immigrate, I think I would have some questions about that. I think most reasonable people would. We don't have to worry about that. There are 7 million Jews in Israel, in a region surrounded by a billion Arab/Muslims. They do have another question about that. A lot of these Arab majority states literally have their ethnic identity protected in their constitution, but they just don't deal with it much because there's not a billion Chinese people trying to immigrate to fucking Pakistan. You can be against that. Wait, no. Okay. You can be against it, but it doesn't matter that you're against it.
Yeah, it's like
it doesn't cash out into anything. They don't ever have to enforce the ethnic majority of fucking Afghanistan or fucking Pakistan or Iran or Iraq.
Soy pill. The law prevents rich people and poor people alike from stealing a loaf of bread, right? That law is obviously going to only affect the poor people in a realistic sense. What you have to engage with and what anti-Zionists have to engage with, and they're, I'm not asking you to solve Israel-Palestine, but if these protections for the ethno-state, and it is an ethno-state, of Israel went away, they would be under massive threat.
Right. And if you're giving me the trolley problem of either support ethnic cleansing or your country is taken over by neo-Nazis, like, yeah, I guess, but like I don't know how you map this onto reality when there are potentially infinite solutions in between those of making a project that doesn't involve ethnic cleansing that solves this, and going to extreme hypotheticals of, yeah, if there were 10 billion Nazis in Canada and they're all coming in, well, yeah, obviously I don't want Nazis in my fucking country. This would suck. But the idea that like, okay, therefore you support ethnic cleansing, it's like this isn't what we're talking about necessarily. We're talking about specific situations that... Okay, go ahead.
You're saying support extreme hypotheticals, like Hamas is not an organization that was supported by Hezbollah that lived to the north of Israel, that was supported by Iran, that was basically the largest player in the region, that was tangentially, peripherally supported by the Houthis. You're like hypothetically, like I can never even imagine this to be the case.
No,
but this is like the
you're
reality.
Saying the hypothetical is either you ethnically cleanse or you die.
No,
that's the hypothetical you gave me, right? Either ethnically cleanse all these Nazis out or you die, right?
Why are you just filibustering? The hypothetical was, do you protect the ethnic majority of your country, or do you become an ethnic minority and then die? That's the hypothetical.
Okay, so using this logic, should Germany expel all the Syrians?
How many Syrians?
Like 10 to 14 million. And an 80 million.
No, there's a million.
There's only a million. Wasn't it 10 to 14 million over all of the EU?
No, it's a million.
Wasn't it like 14 million people that all left Syria? Like the entire Syrian diaspora?
Okay, maybe I'm mixing up the numbers. Let's say it's a million in Germany of a population of 80 million. Is that too many?
Leftist tactic.
No, I was just wrong. I'm admitting that. I got the number mixed up. Sure. If it's a million and 80 million, should they start ethnically cleansing them if more and more people are coming and they're subverting the culture?
No, it won't get to that point because those countries protect their immigration. They don't accept that many people. So they don't get to that point.
And typically people assimilate over time. Like the reason why, like in part, we're not super concerned about Muslims.
But that's my point, is that it's not a dichotomy between ethnic cleansing and death.
Yes, no, I agree. Because they protect their immigration and they dilute it in a certain space and time. Yes.
That's the dichotomy, because for the one-staters, for all the lefties now that are pro-Palestinian, they want Israel to be a single state that accepts every single Palestinian as an Israeli citizen, and then all of the diaspora Palestinians as Israeli citizens, so that the Jewish people will be like 30% of the population there.
Okay,
And then
so
they will vote to have a theocracy that will likely want to.
So walk me through this then.
Yeah.
I oppose Israel's ethnic cleansing. I acknowledge that there is a world in which the population gets to a point where Israel would, the Jews in Israel would be ethnically cleansed by the population that hates them that they allowed in. That both of these things are potentially completely plausible, right? Why is it bad for me to oppose the ethnic cleansing if I believe there could be, even if I can't give you the solutions, ways to get around this that are not, let's just keep ethnically cleansing people and support an ethno-supremacist state?
If you have a better solution, I'm all ears.
Well, the issue is that people seem to be hardcore against the Zionist project, so you call yourself an anti-Zionist. Yeah. But then, on the flip side of that, if the anti-Zionists were to have it their way, you'd probably see, my guess is, another like mass expulsion, if not a genocide, then at least some kind of mass ethnic cleansing of the Israel state. But I don't think any of the pro-Palestinian people are not going to stand up to say anything about that. So they're basically just like expelled from their country.
Sure, but this is why it's frustrating, because the project of Zionism said, we're going to establish this country here, and it caused all these downstream effects that are now putting us in this position. We're between a rock and a hard place. And I'm saying, this fucking position sucks. I hate that you are now making me choose between ethnic cleansing or not, and death of every Jew, or ethnic cleansing of Israel and all the Jews out of Israel, and therefore I oppose the project that established it this way in such a way that would give us all these problems. Like,
no one is saying, when you say you're anti-Zionist, that doesn't mean you opposed the project. That means that you oppose the state of Israel today.
But I still do, because of the way they're doing it. Like, it's like, yeah, I don't think this is like, okay, is the solution just forever we're going to be this, ethnically cleansing thing, and we'll never ever not be at war with everyone around us? Like,
I don't know what the solution is today, but when lefties say that they oppose Israel with their chest. They want to defund it. Maybe they want military action for regime change there. That's their type of opposition. But if Arabs were to become the majority in the state of Israel, and then were to start massively expelling Jewish people, I don't think lefties would have shit to say.
Well, I'd have a problem with ethnic cleansing if Arabs did the Jews. So that's fine. It seems as if the Zionist project right now, though, is specifically and hinging on, correct me if I'm wrong, ethnic cleansing, right?
That the what?
The Zionist project necessitates ethnic cleansing right now. It cannot exist without them continuously ethnically cleansing people.
It depends on if you consider the existence of Palestinians in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip ethnically cleansing. Technically, it depends right now on an indefinite occupation of the West Bank of the Gaza Strip.
Occupation, ethnic cleansing, kicking people out based on their race.
Not kicking people out, but keeping them in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
Okay.
There's 2 million Arabs that live in Israel proper, that aren't in the West Bank or the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
That they're not getting kicked out of Israel.
Okay, gang.
So Phil, can I ask you one last question?
Mm-hmm.
If the people wanting to come into your country or like have political power in your country all want to kill you, and if you don't want those people around, is that supremacist?
If you're doing it on a race-based, like, discrimination thing, like, yeah, like, yes, but no. If you're just like, hey, well, I don't know. Do we ideologically test people to come in?
What if all of the dominant ethnic groups wanting to move in want to kill you, so you don't want any of those dominant ethnic groups? Is that supremacist?
In this very specific, this hypothetical, technically yes, because by necessity, your race is the one that doesn't want to kill your race, and your race is better, but not in the same way that it's like, I think white people are superior to black people.
Wait, you deciding that your race is better is not them being supremacist. That's kind of you being supremacist, right?
No, but yeah, if you think every other race is awful and they all want to kill me, I'm the good one, then it just by necessity is supremacist, right?
Dev, what did you want earlier? Oh, he muted himself.
I don't even recall anymore, man.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, we are gonna wrap this up a little soon because I gotta eat and do.
Oh no, I got it now. I got it back.
Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Crowd, I think you know more about this than me, so just fill me in real quick. Wasn't there a project in the Soviet Union to make like an alternate Israel in the far east of Russia?
Oh yeah, that was a failure.
Project to make them? You mean a place where they were all like shoot off to? That they all left as soon as the Iron Curtain fell? I mean, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, probably.
$5.
No, I recall that they set up
the thing. You mean the thing that we talked about a year ago, sir? Because
maybe
the thing that I did was like anti-Semitism in communist regimes, and most of what I studied was like Czechoslovakia and Poland and East Germany.
Right.
Yeah, let me get this.
What I recall is in the very far east of Russia, they set up like a specific oblast.
That was like the early Stalinist period, sort of Stalin's answer to like Israel existing, I guess. But like in most communist regimes, like in East Germany, communists party members who argued that Jews should receive reparations and that Holocaust survivors should be welcomed back. They were put on show trials for Zionism and shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bad. Let me read the last couple super chats and we're gonna end. I love you all. $5 from Mamba Cloud. Say Stephen points out how Mills is supposed to support the Plattner if she loses. That's how the leftists poison our candidates with a smear of genocide. And then $5 from Snardigan. Is rising populism generally due to institutional failures or an easily deceived public or both? I'm tired of seeing a crumbling and incompetent left. But gang,
both.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you for coming out. Last words from everyone. We're just gonna go around. We're gonna let Kraut go first and let Destiny go last. Kraut, last words.
Because I love all of you very much.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you all for chatting. I'm sorry we were all being
Same here.
I love you. Take care.
Okay, Kraut, go ahead.
Yeah, same. Have a nice day. Thank you for having me on. Maybe in the future again. Bye.
Yeah,
Nice
hope
to meet you.
so. Yeah, Soypill, last words.
Yeah, we spent 3 hours infighting. I think we could have done like a whole panel on how to like organize against like ICE and No Kings and Trump and it
perhaps
feels
a debate on that on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, God, I hope I have the energy for it. Have a backup just in case. Maybe my brain will explode. This just feels like it's like I agree with like 90 to 99% of the criticisms of the left, and it's like okay, and now the little Israel thing at the end, but it just feels so fruitless. Like how much time? What do we accomplish here? Who are we excising? Is anything going to happen? Have we found a way to effectively excise, even if we agreed on it? Probably not. So why not spend this time, or majority of this time, actually fighting against the people who are fucking me over every single day? Unlike the Hassans who do fuck me over, but luckily don't have nearly so much power to do so. That's all I'm saying.
I get like it's just this like isolated demands of productivity. If I have a debate on how bad Trump is, how much am I actually doing? I don't know.
Well, you're not debating MAGA about how bad Trump is. It's how can we effectively fight back against it. That's what matters.
But we never ask these conversations, but we're always asking it of conversations about Hasan. It's just like an isolated demand for productivity, and it's like okay. Anyway, thanks for being here, Soypill. Appreciate you hopping on.
Love you, baby. Bye.
Dev, last.
All right, guys. That was wild. I don't know. I don't know if Destiny and Erudite are just being contrarian, but correct me if I'm wrong. That just felt like I felt like they were giving me like white nationalist ass talking points, but like in defense of Israel, and it's like okay, like what the fuck? Like you can be pro like I don't want to ethnically cleanse like fucking Israel without saying like oh like necessity, it's a necessity that we do this or we'll die, and it's like is it? Are there no other solutions? Can we do nothing else? Like, and if it is like we need to do something about it. Like, and it seems like the only prescription is I don't have a solution. We just have to do this like indefinitely, and I don't know, man. Oh, that's not what I wanted. How do I flip horizontally? I don't know how to flip horizontally. I'll just be backwards. Wait. Oh, transform, flip, horizontal. There we go. Dryan, think for the 5. God, the Zionism, the Dems is so insufferable. Supporting a state that violates human rights and a far-right ethno-state is misguided. Yeah, and it's like, oh, if you don't support it, you want to ethnically cleanse Israel, right? Because you realize that, like, by existing there, they're always going to be doing this. I'm like, well... No, I don't want to ethnically cleanse Israel, but I also think the manner in which they're maintaining their state in the name of Zionism is bad, and I don't know how to stop that. And I would prefer if there was like more integration, and I think there could be like an idea of a one state with assimilation. And if you're saying that's impossible, then what you're telling me is that it necessitates perpetual ethnic cleansing, and the only way this can stop suffering is if we take a bunch of the people and just move them somewhere else, which is ethnic cleansing. That's like the ultimate final ethnic cleansing or final solution, if you will. And it's like, I don't think that's good. I don't want to displace everyone from Gaza. I don't want to displace everyone from Israel. So like, what the fuck? What do you do? Look at us when you're talking to us, Soypill. I'm not happy, Destiny. Not happy. As a Destiny fan, he's gone off lately. He's been clever enough to understand the issue, but him constantly saying you're being bad faith is the biggest red flag. Look, I get that Destiny like doesn't know me, so he's like not sure about it, and he's prone to like people backstabbing him. But yeah, I'm happy I'm tolerant and I'm not constantly getting upset at the bad faith thing. I'm just like, buddy, I don't fucking know who you're talking to. You gotta stop assuming the worst. Why no live and learn? It's tomorrow. Although Hutch said he might not be able to make it because of family shit, and it's like, fucking Hutch, dude. I get it. Your family's dying. Well, maybe they can just leave him alone, man. To say you're anti-ethnic cleansing, I guess. Hey, Kilo, thank you for the 5. Even the bizarre hypothetical that opting out of Zionism will lead to them getting genocided. Why do the Jews get perpetual preference? Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, if you have a whole debate about it, it's like, all right, your two options are Jews get to perpetually ethnically cleanse or the Arabs do, and you got to pick one. I'm like, well, yeah, this rock and a hard place thing is not something that has a preference at the end. It's like something that's just bad in either sense. You have to find a way to solve it. I don't know how to fucking solve Israel-Palestine, but this exists because of the Zionist project and the perpetual need to say, we need to exist in this spot, and I'm anti that. Like, I don't think that your desire to exist in this country and it, like, because of some religious dogmatism is justification to keep doing what you're doing. I'm sorry. This gives me too much of the Weimar Republic type shit. So people, they want to do the SPD triangulating with the nationalist Freikorps. Maybe. Good job. Hey, Mindwaves. Good job calling out Destiny's lack of understanding what differentiates the different far-right factions and their feelings on Jews in Israel. Yeah, I can't believe you said that, like, Jews just want, or neo-Nazis just want Jews to go to Israel and fuck off. Like, this is just not true. Like, maybe a Richard Spencer might say something like this, but, like, Nick Fuentes, like, that felt like whitewashing. I was very baffled by just, like, how much the Hasan bad overcame the, okay, but also neo-Nazis aren't as bad as Hassan. Like, I don't know. Getting a convo with Lonerbox. Yeah, I could talk to him about it. I think I trust Lonerbox, but I trust Destiny, who's read about it. Like, I don't think he's like, he's way more informed than I am. I don't do debates on Israel-Palestine. I don't know shit. Say trans rights. I just did. Get in the convo. Oh, do you understand that these liberals are the ones actually period testing? Well, they are. If Hutch flakes out when Taylor's going to be on, yeah, I'm going to try to reschedule. We'll see. Remember when you made a huge effort to post about dark money and you were totally wrong about everything? Oh, you're talking about Kilo. Private property is the dividing line between liberals and leftists. I think that is the definitive difference between the groups. Yeah, and I'm not anti-private property. I gotta stop saying dem sock. I'm a sock dem. Destiny's got more rhetoric than he has. Good faith in my years of seeing him. He puts up some real good fights against right wingers. And yeah, and like that's why I tried to bring it up. Like, obviously, I don't think that Hasan's politics are less harmful than like Destiny's personal beefs that have caused so much baggage. But associating with Destiny, it comes with so much fucking baggage. There's all sorts of shit you'll get just for mentioning him or being on the same poster as him or being in an org that he's in. I've known people that like lost donors that are because of the orgs that he's in. And you know what? Like, that's something that I'm like, hey, but you do good fighting and you have good politics and you promote usually good things. And I want to work with that. And I want to promote people to get involved. And the idea that like I'm going to throw that all away because like, oh, like you got canceled for this thing. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously there's a line to draw. Like if it turned out that someone was like an actual, like a murderer or a rapist or whatever. And it's like, okay, like there's definitive proof that you just like are poison and you do more harm than good. That's when you stop. But like, I don't know. You can't draw the equivalence to that in the Hasan politics because his is all about subverting the Democratic Party. It's not just like, oh, he did bad stuff. He behaved similar with Pisco. He held the position of allying with people who aren't allied completely. I couldn't quote him. Yeah. If you realize that socialism and communism are both acceptable if people want it, and the reality is that it's just as fine as liberalism, fascism is by force and thus not acceptable. I don't know if the problem is like you can't, I don't know how you get everyone on board with socialism and communism, and insofar as like, well, then we wouldn't have to force it. Like, well, if everyone just agreed with me, we wouldn't have to force it. But that's usually not how it plays out. Yeah, commies. Don't get how they can think it's anything but supremacist to want to protect your ethnic majority. Yeah, no, that's the questions. It's like I felt like I was talking with neo-Nazis. Like, I know they're not. I know I agree with these people's politics, but the arguments being brought up, like, how is it supremacist if they just want to protect their ethnicity from the ones that want to kill them? And it's like, dude, that's what Nazis say. They're like, well, black people just, are more dangerous and we just have to get rid of them. It's not about like that. We don't hate them because of their skin color. It's just they're inherently more dangerous and they're attacking the white race and there's a white genocide. We just get all the brown people out. And it's like, fuck, like, my haters follow me. Sorry. It's okay, Kilo. Destiny was sounding super fun, just like a little bit. I'm glad I know these people. If that was my first introduction to Kyla and Steven, I would have some questions. What's preferable? What is best? Mindwaves, you're a failed streamer. Actively is being quite the snarker. I've seen you in here. No one should talk to Hasan. Also, I got waffles and chicken with Fuentes. Yeah, I think he was too friendly with Fuentes, but like, was there any ever a point in his? I didn't watch this whole discussion. Was there ever a point in that like Destiny and Nick thing that people always try to like use to call him out? Like, oh, you promoted Nick. It's like, isn't he like pushing back on him the entire time, or is it because he's not like screaming at him? I don't know. Talk to Bisco about what I'm telling you. Destiny's not acting in good faith to certain other libs. Talk to Bisco. I'll definitely talk to Bisco. I joined Richard's. Oh, hey, Dubious Gal. I joined Richard Spencer's Substack to see Beyond the Curtain. He's honestly pretty fucking libbed out. No, I think he's hiding his power level at this point. He's trying to like capitulate. He's doing like the Glenn Beck. Destiny is deep in the right-wing Zionist information sphere. Maybe. It was so weird that he's like, Jews don't try to convert people to religion. Like, this is like, it was so weird. He was like Jew-splaining this to me. Or Goy-splaining? Goyim-splaining? It's like, dude, like, I'm in Jewish communities. There are explicit like projects from synagogues that like will do outreach to secular Jews and try to pay them money to go to synagogue teaching and make them more religious. Like, this just exists. They do this to people on Birthright. They do this to people in synagogues in California. Like, Jews constantly try to convert people. No, don't get me wrong. They're not like fucking Mormons. They don't have like missionaries to the same extent, and they don't, go around dropping Watchtower flyers in your front door. But they do. They try to convert people. It really enrages me, Soy, that people like Destiny are like, MAGA in America far right bad, but then Allied care water for Israelis far right. Does he? I don't think Destiny's like pro Netanyahu, is he? I mean, it sounds like he was carrying a little water for them there. Difference between acknowledging the problem that started creation in Israel and wanting Palestine to get their own state and wanting Israel to disappear today. Yeah, there is a difference. I was going nuts during the Zionist conversation, how much he misrepresents your opinion. Well, don't be, look, Destiny is not just fighting me, right? He's fighting me, and then there's like 60 stands from JoJo, and they're all the lefties that are like super fucking like insane and anti-Semitic, and he's punching all of them too. And he, like, his punches might be missing me and hitting them, but like it sure does feel like they're all coming at me. All these positions that I don't have. Norman Finkelstein was well read. Destiny has trolled Wikipedia and has a predisposition to talk fast. I don't know. That debate with him and Finkelstein, Finkelstein looked pretty awful in it. He didn't really substantively contest what things Destiny was saying. Benny Morris was, is much more well read. He's literally a scholar, and he seemed to be agreeing with Destiny on things. Like, I don't know if I trust Norman Finkelstein. Slaveholders said the same things about black people that Israelis do about Palestinians. It was called servile insurrection. Yeah. You might not want to cut him off, but he wants you to cut off people he disagree with. Destiny is toxic. I mean, sure, but I can deal with him telling me to cut people off and not doing it, as long as he's not going to like dox me or some shit. Maybe he will. It's literally a stone's throw away from Nazism, and that's why leftists reject it so principally. Yeah. Zionism seems pretty fucking crazy to me. But don't get me wrong, like, I understand the concept and the impetus of Zionism. Like, what do you do with all the... Like, today, if you try to establish a Jewish state today, I would say, like, okay, clearly this is going to cause a bunch of problems, and there are plenty of countries that accept you, and, like, even in America, where, like, anti-Semitism was on the rise, it's still an incredibly safe place for Jews. This is silly. But, like, back in the fucking end of the 40s, and, like, right after the Holocaust, like, I get it. It's just a really bad decision. So, I hate religion, and I hate the way that religion justifies. It's like, oh, this is our religious homeland, therefore it's okay. Destiny was too friendly with Fuentes, but he was debating him. Yeah, like, he might have been a little too buddy-buddy, but I've done that with neo-Nazis before. I'm like, hey, what's up? Haha, I'll shake your hand, you fucking piece of shit racist. Still to this day, Nick isn't that racist. He had black friends. No. Nick is a neo-Nazi. I know he acknowledges that. You messed up by saying we just don't let Nazis in. Yeah, but that's the thing, is we do let Nazis in right now. I wouldn't say we could have to ideologically test immigrants. There's plenty of like Europeans that probably immigrate to America that are probably Nazis that I prefer not be here, but I don't want to like ethnically or like even like ideologically test people. It's so weird. It was funny that he was trying to Jew-splain the cultural importance of Birthright. Well, I think he might have assumed my position was like, the reason they do Birthright is to convert you to Judaism, which is obviously not true. If Spencer's hiding his power level, he's not hiding it in his private paid community. It's not about, he's trying to sane wash himself. He's not hiding his power level. Obviously, he's still a fucking neo-Nazi. I don't think Jews actually were openly calling for the mass killings of Germans. Probably not. I've seen Destiny saying Netanyahu is a batshit insane war criminal and needs to go. Yeah. True. Finkelstein is a moron. You ignorant moron. He pretends not to be, but then never covers how Israel has messed up and currently is with the conflict. He crashed out on Miss Rachel for being pro-Palestine. To be fair, I saw Miss Rachel say some some actually anti-Semitic things. She was like liking some anti-Semitic stuff. So, you know, people are like, oh, she's just saying like, don't kill kids. But I'm like, well, Miss Rachel, you like this comment that says like, the Jews don't want you to know this, or some weird shit like that. I was like, oh, I hope you did that one on accident. Dan and Destiny have an inside joke about Miami Jews chasing Dan to convert him. The point is that they don't try to convert non-Jews. Okay, that's fair. They're usually chasing the secular Jews, but that's because it's so much easier than getting anyone else on board. Yeah, French called for a holy war against Jews and supports imperialism and the idea that, yeah, like that is just as bad, if not less bad than Hasan's anti-Semitism, which is bad. Like, yeah, really, we shouldn't be grading these things, but that was insane. Wouldn't that be Goysplain? Yeah, Goysplain. Thank you, Soy, for sticking up for Dem socks. Sock Dems. Sock Dems. Behavior is also a little batshit insane. Psychopath, he's got to go. Unfortunately, I've had 20 years of fashy education over there. Oh, Ben Gavir, excuse me, not behavior. Turnout is way more effective than convincing people. That's what the studies show. I'm just wondering how libs on this panel just ignore it. Well, hey, look, anyone watching right now, I'm going to try to get you. You're going to come out. We're going to door knock. We're going to phone call, all right? We're all going to do it. Was Nick saying the N-word because whites and blacks should band together against Jews? Legit? I thought that... Oh, I don't fucking know. I don't, like, try to keep up with fucking Nick Fuentes stuff. Even if Hasan was the bigger anti-Semite, I'd still vote for him over Fuentes. I guess it would be preferable, yeah, that's true. But like, this is like the JD Vance versus Hasan, where it's like both of these things are horrible, but Hasan you might get some more good on the way there, but it's still terrible. Hey, Ogre Boy followed me on Twitch. What's up, buddy? It's funny because I'm not even streaming to Twitch right now, and I don't think I'd be allowed to because Destiny's on. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off. I'm tired. I have to go to the gym. Had a really bad night last night. I've had a week. Actually, it's been really bad in the past couple of weeks, but things are going to turn around for me, okay? Everything's going to be okay. So I love you guys. Updates, script is done at the end of the day. Going to try to record it tomorrow. Live and Learns tomorrow. Supposed to be with Taylor. We might reschedule it if Hutch can't make it, but we'll see. What else? Oh, debate on Wednesday about birthright citizenship, which I need to prep more for. Yeah. Love you guys. Type 1 and have a great rest of your